What is up, everyone, and welcome to July 2019. Hope you guys are doing something with your summer other than just sitting on your ass and working all the time. Hopefully you're going to get out and do some riding. And this podcast is going to be a good one about that. We sat down with Trashin Supply, Lance Coury, and his father, Big Lance, who I'm actually a big fan of his Instagram. So hopefully you guys are following both Trashin Supply and Big Lance on Instagram. They all post some badass shit, and everybody knows Trashin Supply, so shouldn't be hard to find that one. But I'm while out in Venice or LA to be exact, I was able to get in over there at Thrashin and get a couple words out of these guys before they got ready for all the things coming up, and really appreciate that, guys. Thank you for sitting down. Really cool shop, really cool products, and really down to earth dudes, which makes that brand even better. You know what I mean? So really excited about that. Also excited about this month and the next couple of months having Lex and Moto on as a sponsor. So if you guys didn't know, hopefully you heard the podcast, but Lex and Moto builds premium Bluetooth audio devices for riders at a realistic price point without sacrificing quality. Me and my boys on the Cali trip, we all had Lexans except for one. He was not a part of the crew. But no, they're great products, man. And it's really changed the way that I, go about my riding. You know what I mean? Like, I have so much more at my fingertips with, being able to listen to music, phone calls, getting navigation, which I'm not really needing that, but it's nice to know it's there. And good battery life, good product all around. You guys should check them out, lexandmotorcycle.com. You can also use Fast Life at checkout for 15% off. And if you're going to be at East Coastin', the event, East Coastin', you can go check out and say hi to Mark from Lexington. He's going to be there. And if you're also going to be at Laguna Seca Superbike races, you can go meet Anthony. They're both going to have promotional items given away and doing all kinds of shit. So just hit them up, tell them you heard about this podcast, and don't forget that offer code FASTLIFE for 15% off. I also want to thank my boys over at Big Bear. Man, I really enjoyed being able to have such a amazing quality suspension on my motorcycle on this trip, and it's all thanks to Big Bear and his revalving of the Olin shocks and the Nix 22 setup that he set up for me for stock ride height, because I'm short as fuck and I didn't want to go the 2x2s, but he offers that, which is awesome. And he's also coming out with a new cartridge kit for the front that's going to blow, I think, everything out of the water. So hopefully you're following Big Bear Choppers on Instagram, and if you want to give Kevin a call him at 909-478-7788. Talk to him, let him know what you're looking at doing, and don't hesitate, man. Big Bear sells so much shit. Like, they have more than suspension, from mid-control kits to exhaust systems to fairings to bags. Like, they really have so much shit. I can't really explain how much shit they got. They just have a lot of shit. Go to their website, check them out, bigbearperformance.com. And like I said, just let them know you heard about them through this podcast. I also want to thank Lindahl Brakes for everything they've been doing for us and providing us with some solid kick-ass rotors, and on my other previous bikes, wheels. Really big fan of their products. Lightweight, does the job, looks sexy as hell. You can't beat it. I don't know, man. Like, maybe I just like the brand. Maybe I don't know what it is, but the shit's dope. I've always been a big friend of Paul, and he's been a great dude and a really nice guy to me in this industry since I've been in it. And their products are great, and their customer service is even better. So give them a follow, Lindahl Brakes on Instagram. And don't forget, you can go on their website, lindahlbrakes.com, and from brake pads, wheels, brake rotors, sprockets, all that shit, use Fast Life for 10% off your purchases. Really good product, really good code to have for their products, because it's gonna save you some money there, buddy. So check them out. I also want to thank my boy John Jessup, Dream Rides John on Instagram. Check him out, teamdreamrides.com. He has an online store. All you guys that can't walk into the store or have a shop like his badass shop in your neck of the woods, you can pretty much support a real rider and a real shop by going to teamdreamrides.com, checking out all the products they have, all the things they offer. They also have the option of getting 10% off by using Fast Life at checkout. So that's also a good thing. It's going to save you on some of the things that I know you're going to want on your bike. So check them out. Also, if you're lucky enough to be in the NorCal area, John Jessup Dream Rides does full service work on all bikes, Harleys, I think, and in-house dyno tuning, bike sales. He pretty much has it all right there. He's a really great guy, and his work is impeccable. So check them out. I also want to thank Mark from Texas Performance MC. Always good dude down there, Cedar Park, Texas, handling a lot of us Texas folks, keeping our bikes running tip top. Hit him up for your maintenance needs, your service needs, your dyno tuning, your performance build. He built a badass bike for my boy Jetty. Gonna be at SEMA this year, so look forward to seeing that. Also, just check him out, TexasPerformanceMC.com, as well as on Instagram. And check him out if you're down there in the Austin, Texas area. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake. Thank you, homie, for keeping me flaked out in this bitch. Man, I really appreciate all the stuff you do for us custom painters in the community. Really love your products. They're great. And if I love them, I know you guys will love them too. Check them out. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram. On Instagram. PaintHuffer.com if you want to order some flakes, pearls, tapes, other products. They got all kinds of shit for you custom painters out there. So check them out. Also, you can use Fast Life for 15% off your purchases. Also, guys, thank you for giving us a follow and liking us, man. This has been a great, experience this summer doing these podcasts and being on the road, and I'm looking forward to it. And I got some guests lined up, I think, for this next month. It's going to be pretty awesome. Just know that the things that you do for us, whether it's like checking out the sponsors or sharing the podcast that you like on your social media or anything else, like being a Patreon subscriber, helps out so much. You know what I mean? Like that $1 a month goes a long fucking way, when it all adds up, and it really enables us to do more with this podcast. So don't hesitate to at least check it out or consider it. And if anything else, just keep doing what you're doing, listening to this podcast and helping it grow, which ultimately will help it grow. So check it out. You can go to my website, fastlifegarage.com, front page right there, everything you need to know. And we're gearing up to do some more content. Now on our Patreon, we've got the ability to start doing live videos. So we might be doing some live videos of like custom paint shit or certain podcasts while we're doing them at the spot, those kind of things. So anyway, just, if you got a time, check them out. I appreciate it either way. All of it's much respected, and I'm thanking you for it. Whatever. Anyway, here's Lance Coury. And Lance Coury, I guess senior would be the way. Check it out.
Guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good. I'm gonna get on up.
Can you hear me? Can you make sure?
I hear you pretty good.
Cool.
So, Trashin Supply.
Yes, sir.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely was it started as just kind of like a thing to make money so that we could pay for beers on the weekends or our rides that we wanted to do, and I had to retire from my other job and focus on this full time now.
Yeah, how long were you into the I can't remember. I'm not really big into the dirt bike scene.
Yeah, no worries.
But so were you doing freestyle stuff or racing more?
So, I grew up racing from, like 4 years old till I was about 15. And then kind of caught myself doing tricks at the track and no handers, heel clickers, small little tricks. And I just started going after wanting to hang out with the guys riding freestyle. Carrie Hart would be at the local track, and so then I'd like kind of chase after those guys, like, hey, can I ride with you? So about 15 years old I started getting into freestyle, and then 15 years old till I kind of like retired out at about 26, 27.
Yeah, it's a young man's game, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's guys in their early 20s that are doing stuff that I never even imagined.
Yeah.
So I kind of got in at the right time and was able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and then get out at the right time, Yeah,
it's what would you say was more of a funner experience, the freestyle thing? Because it was kind of like, in like probably all of the early 2000s, from 2001 to 10, it was like the biggest thing. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. It was that big, like in those eras. And so when I got in, when I was 15, that was 2005. Yeah. So I was just like bit by the bug, early 2000s, seeing these guys start to flip motorcycles and do crazy stuff, watch all their videos. I wanted in, so I caught that tail end. I was still like able to kind of build my career at the end of the 2008, 2009, and it was wild. It's been a huge transition, kind of coming over into being a business owner, an entrepreneur, or a motorcycle parts maker. But there was an easy transition because in freestyle motocross, there's not a lot of riders in freestyle motocross. So I used to be at machine shops making custom parts for my dirt bike so that we could do certain flip tricks or certain tricks to hang off the bike, right? Because we're not riding like a stock bike that comes out of the showroom.
So making certain handle grips and shit like that will enable certain types of tricks, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So my wife's dad is an aerospace machinist. And so I would be over at his shop all the time making stuff. Crazy thing is, at the time we were just dating, me and my wife, and he used to charge me a lot of money to make parts. But at the time I was making money and I needed them. Yeah. But it was a cool way for us to kind of like hang out, get to know each other. But at the end of the time he'd be like, all right, yeah, that part was $2,000. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
But it taught me a lot, and then it really opened the doors even for Thrashin, because the first part we made was a handlebar top clamp. Yeah. And it really was just like me and a couple buddies were like, oh, like we should just have a part for ourselves. And like we were kind of calling ourselves Thrashin. Like we were like one buddy had like a bachelor house. Yeah. And we were like tagging Thrashin like in the garage, and like we were like making stickers and putting it on our bikes. And so then we just made a top clamp and put the word Thrashin on it. And it wasn't anything for sale. It was just like I made 10, and just the 10 buddies had them.
So what was the like going from dirt bikes and freestyle motocross? Like what was the transition into Harleys? Like what was the inspiration to get from that bike to this instead of like an R6 or a fucking GSXR or something?
No, that's a good question. Two things. Basically, I had, since the time I was 4 or 5 to 27, I was in the competitive world. Even in freestyle, I was competing against people. So what I really liked about Harleys is it was like the opposite of competition. Like you were just out cruising, And I even people today are like, why don't you race flat track? I'm like, I got into Harleys because I wanted to like just go to the bar and like maybe do some wheelies or something. Like, I don't want to race anybody. Yeah. And so I kind of wanted to get away from that. And then my neighbor, being that I was 16 and I was a good rider, my neighbor had a R1 and he was older, and he's like, anytime you want it, man, you're more than welcome to take it out. So I would take his R1 out on the weekends, and I would do 150 miles an hour down the street, And I knew, not trying to act mature, but I just knew, like, man, if I have this bike, I will kill myself.
Yeah. Especially with the traffic and the roads here.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of power, it's like, I rode Topanga Canyon yesterday. Yep. And I was like, not that I haven't ridden nicer roads since I've been on this trip, but like, if that was a daily rip for you, you know what I mean? Like, and you get a sport bike and you just like start getting a little more confident each time. And man, I could see people going down on that, or even like just going a little too fast, lane splitting. It's just so many things,
And that's the thing, in that, I mean, obviously, I think most of us are adrenaline junkies.
Yeah, true.
And like, I'm gonna push it to the limit on that bike. So when I got on a Harley, like I had buddies with choppers and Harleys, you're going like 55 through the canyon, and you feel like you're going 200. The bike's rattling and stuff like that. And so I just kind of like the fact that it was more of like an animal that you were wrestling, and it was just kind of loud and fun. And again, it just wasn't. I wasn't trying to be the fastest, but I was just trying to have fun.
It really seems like, there was a big influx of the dirt bike community growing out of dirt bikes and into, Harleys. And whether it was the Unknown Dudes or you or, however many other people that's been that way coming from that world. And I think it's also been very inspiring for all the people that followed you guys in your dirt bike careers.
Definitely.
And helped build this whole industry that we have now around Dynas and FXRs and now these baggers and shit.
No,
and Softails,
You're definitely right. I think that one of the big things too that I kind of forgot to mention, a big transition why I went from like riding dirt bikes and so much now into the street, and it kind of goes off that question, is that I hated loading up my bike and driving 1 hour, unloading, maybe getting an hour's worth of riding in, loading my dirt bike back up, driving home. Now I spent 6 hours doing this. Then I still have to wash my bike.
Yeah, get on the
like, it was just a whole day's worth of work for
it's almost like owning a boat.
Yeah, for maybe like an hour's worth of enjoyment actually on the bike. Yeah. So then what I really liked about the Harley scene, or just, I mean, riding on the street, was just like I roll out of my garage, and because you've been riding my canyons now, like being able to ride, to Neptune's Net, Topanga Canyon, Santa Monica Mountains, Canaan, Malibu Canyon.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many good canyons right here.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of, I'm jealous as hell.
yeah, so like for me, I can get out of my garage and go ride for 1 hour, and the whole time I was riding, and I was on good roads.
Yeah.
So that was always a thing for me. And again, I buy a bike that not only I can use as transportation, it doesn't cost me a ton of money to go use it for the day. Where on a dirt bike, it's like, and even me, I was getting bikes free. I was getting into tracks free.
Yeah.
But still, look at it from like a normal consumer. $80 in gas to get to the track, $40 to $50 to get in the track. Your bike's kind of getting beat down pretty hard on the motocross track. Like, next thing you know, each time you ride, it's at least $200.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of moto kids are kind of, in this day and age, kind of getting over to Harleys because, I mean, yes, Harley does cost a lot of money, but I think in the long run, like the to use it doesn't cost as much.
Yeah. So I mean, it's more user friendly, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see that. I mean, like I said, I feel like I've seen so many people, that were following. Like, one of my closest friends back home was one of the ones that got me into it, as well as just working in Cali, being exposed to it. But it's like, you see all these people, and then the Willie thing came along, and then it made it even more. It's like, in my whole life of riding bikes, it's like when you were young, you rode sport bikes. And when you were in your 15 to 25, like, you were a sport bike guy.
Yep.
And then then you might have graduated into a Harley or something, or depending on what your friends group kind of went to. But, now I feel like, fuck, man, all these, I'm 36, going on 37. Like, I see people just 15, they want a Dyna. You know what I mean? They want a new Softail, or even a Sportster at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether Rusty Butcher making it popular to ride Sportsters
Definitely.
or whatnot. But it's like, it's just a different thing, But I think it's cool because, when you hear Harley talking about wanting a younger generation on their bikes, and then I just feel like they don't follow the right accounts on Instagram.
No, I agree with you. Definitely. It's incredible because I work with Harley a ton. I mean, I do like commentating with them, and I'm back and forth from Milwaukee a couple of times a year. But sometimes I think that they do forget to realize, let's just say, and I'm just going to speak for myself, the Trashin Supply Instagram account, let's just say. It has a lot of followers. It has a lot of people on there. It's inspiring a lot of people. And there's a lot of followers, and we get a lot of DMs, people that don't have bikes.
Yeah.
Man, it looks so cool what you guys do. What is the first Harley I should get?
Yeah.
Man, like, this looks so rad. Like, how old were you when you got your first bike? And these kids might be 15, And so I think it is inspiring the youth, and I think Harley sometimes kind of almost doesn't want to support some of us.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm trying to separate Lance Coury from Trashin Supply. Like, they support Lance Coury, but they don't really want to support Trashin Supply because Thrashin's almost like a competition to Screaming Eagle or their parts and accessories catalog.
But see, I would argue that because it makes I thought this was a crazy deal when, they gave, last year they gave Horsepower Inc., they gave San Diego Customs, they gave all these, Kraus, all these companies, and trust me, I'm friends with all of them.
Yeah.
They gave them all these companies that basically make products that void warranties, bikes to build for these, Born Free in the what was it, 115th last year or something like that. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, Like,
no, you're right. You're right. I think that's only been in like the last 12 to 18 months though.
Yeah.
That's pretty new to them. So I think they're just starting to realize it and just starting to to let that be something.
Yeah.
But I think that they're still a little hesitant. I think that there's probably two sides to those board meetings. You got guys fighting for it and guys that are like, no.
It's such a new world of marketing and such a new world of when all this Instagram shit started, like, we were used to MySpace and Facebook, so we were all using it to meet chicks and whatever. And then Instagram comes along and it seems like the new way to meet chicks, but then there's this business aspect to it, there's this networking aspect to it, and now there's like all these brands like yourself and Rusty Butcher and Valley Customs and all these people that are building these brands around this whatever they're doing, they're painting or selling hard parts or soft parts. And it's like, in a sense, it's like each one of these brands has a significant amount of followers, not just like followers like, likers and things, but people that genuinely love their brand.
Yeah, for sure.
Want the shirt, want the gloves, want the hats, might not be able to afford a paint job or might not be able to afford a build, but they want to support this brand because they like what you put online. You know what I mean?
No, you're definitely right. And I think that's always been a goal at Trashin Supply is I'm not trying to pump buy our products down your throat on our Instagram. I'm just trying to pump like
the
go out and
lifestyle,
ride. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with you. And with that being said, it kind of goes back to that there could be a 15-year-old that's following Trashin Supply, and he not only can he not afford an exhaust system right now, he can't afford a bike, but he loves the lifestyle and the brand so much he probably has 5 or 6 of our shirts. You know, and so we get those customers. I have this one kid that rides his bicycle to the shop like almost once a week and buys a new shirt every week, dope. And he's probably like maybe 14. Every time I like try to get him something like for free or like half off, I'm like, dude, you're sweating. Like, where'd you ride from? And he rode like 4 miles away, you know? So we do have that following, and we are inspiring the youth. And I think that it's a different day and age because it's just like it's a lot easier for people to start a lifestyle company. Like you see a lot of people pop up with like t-shirts, you know, just shirts, which the only bummer about that, there's not a bummer. I mean, everyone, it's a free market and go after what you can. But companies like you said, like us at Trashin Supply, Rusty Butcher, whoever it be, like we use our t-shirt sales to really help fund the research and development in our hard parts. You know, like we don't just take those t-shirt funds and then just like go buy toys. Like we're putting money back into stuff. There's money back into designing foot pegs, designing handlebars, designing bags, and all useful products that
and basically with this new day and age, that's the only way like guys like yourself or I are gonna ever get to that legacy point of like a Ness. Because you know, we're not really getting these influxes of, you know, we're not living in that chopper market of, you know, 15 years ago where dudes are like, man, I got $1 million, dude. I burning a hole in my pocket. I want to put it in a business right now. You know? So you got to find different ways to kind of fund the real growth. And the hard parts is kind of like the legacy products that you can make and it'll stand the test of time.
Exactly.
Because these Dynas and FXRs ain't going to change. And as long as there's parts still available, in 20 years, people are still going to be buying that top clamp that y'all dicking around came up with the idea.
Totally.
For,
no,
you
we
know?
Still sell them every day today. And that is the cool thing. Like even our P54, our foot peg, we designed it 4 years ago.
So, you know,
it still sells amazing.
A backstory of mine. So when I first, you know, I was laying in my buddy's kid's bedroom sleeping in NorCal while I was up there painting bikes for him, and I bought a Dyna, I was building it, and Dixon Flannel was throwing a party, right? This was 2016. They were throwing a big party at their place. I was like, fuck it, man. I'm going to build this Dyna. I'm going to ride it. I'm going to show people how Texas does it, right? And I kind of came in strong, but at the same time, it's like I was laying in the room, and I was just like on Instagram looking at every company that made a part. And I ended up buying y'all's exhaust before y'all made the one with the chambers on it.
Air chambers,
And it was like back in the, you know, this is 2016, and you guys were already a staple in this like niche of motorcycle, you know, market. So when did Thrashin start? Like
we started in 2014.
14, damn.
Yeah, that was when I trademarked the name and like was like, oh, let's do something with this. We started kind of calling ourselves Thrashin probably in 2013, and probably already had even a part in 2013.
Nice.
But when it was like, man, like people want to, like we started having people want to buy the top clamp. You know, we go to Neptune's and someone would be like, man, I want one of those top clamps. And then I was like, we got something here, like. And I was like, oh.
Well, who else was doing it at that time? I mean, in this that you would say is where in our scene, basically, I guess you'd say.
I mean, I would say like back before I think I started making pegs and stuff was maybe like Speed Merchant.
Yeah.
You know, and then Roland Sands, obviously.
Always been around.
Yeah, he had. I mean, I was looking at Roland Sands catalogs before I had a bike.
Dude, my first Harley
his bikes were like. When I was like 15, 16, those were like the soft tails he was making. And he had those catalogs of him like jumping a soft tail or something, you know? So like he was doing some pretty cool stuff, and obviously Speed Merchant. And other than that, like there wasn't a ton of people doing it, you know?
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like, you know, for us in Texas, we have to get our shit through the internet or magazines, not even magazines anymore. And there was only a couple companies, and you know, you guys were one of them. And this is 2016 though, so by that time you had like, who else was out there? I mean, you had like, I don't even know off the top of my head.
No, there was definitely more. I mean, you have a lot more brands. Whether it's like, and I don't even know. I don't want to be quoted, but you like, you know, Fab 28, Sawicki Speed, like a couple more exhaust companies popped up, and I don't know if any of them were before us or after us. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying like. I think that was kind of in the rise of like a lot more guys making stainless exhaust. And then you had, you know, even Mark Rusty Butcher kind of came out with some foot pegs. I'm not sure what he's doing with that right now, but Then you even have like Flow, who's a motocross brand.
Yeah.
Who was like, oh, like, look, we can make foot pegs for Harley guys.
All those motocross brands, if they were smart, I mean, just based off this conversation, would see that the transition, like most people do that. You know, all these kids on dirt bikes, and then they grow out of it. And like, man, like all these dudes that I used to look up to, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go do what they're doing now, and I can. You know what I mean? You can get a Dyna cheap, man.
Yeah. No, you're right, for sure. I think it's I don't know. Let's keep that quiet. We don't want like pro tape or anything to make cool parts. No, but I think that you're gonna just. I think it's gonna keep growing, and it's like one of those things. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, is this like market gonna go different, or is it gonna change?" But it's like I think as it changes, us all as people will evolve with it. It's not like in 5 years I'm not gonna be riding a Harley. I've been riding two wheels since I was 4. You know, it's not, I'm not gonna just like wake up and be like, yeah, I'm done owning my Harley. Like I love my Harley, and so. If the styling changes a little bit, like I think Thrashin itself will just keep kind of molding with that. We're not going to just be stuck in our way. Like this is the only bar we make.
I feel like it is changing. I mean, you see how many people, even from the stunt side, are.
Hold on. Let me tell them to answer the phone. Hey, well, when you guys answer the phone over there? All right, let's keep going.
You can kind of see how a lot of people were chasing the dyno wheelie section. And then how Zach got kind of flooded, I guess you'd say.
Yep.
Now it's like you have to be on a bagger to be doing wheelies to be kind of like a top dog and shit.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And I think more people are going to jump into the bagger thing because you can. I mean, there's so many of them out there, dude. You can get 09 and up is what you want. You can get those cheap, man.
Yeah, I know. You know? I mean, a lot of even our buddies that we support, you know, whether it's Sea Bear Stunts or Reckless or Exposed, like a lot of those guys, they all have baggers. I literally just got a text message from Reckless. Like, did you send my floorboards out yet?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's kind of where it's going. I know I want a bagger for sure. I don't really want it to wheelie it. I'm big into touring.
Yeah,
I've ridden the Sturgis 4 times. I do want it for touring. But I just like, I have an FXR. I have a Dyna. I've ridden a Sturgis on my Dyna a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can still do it. My wife's pregnant right now with we have a kid. My wife's pregnant. I'm like, once my wife gets back into riding with me, then I'll get a bagger.
Well, you kind of said it like you like to ride a lot, and that's one thing that I think that a lot of people or a lot of brands they would chase the hype, like the wheelie thing.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something very awesome about doing touring on bikes.
Oh my god,
and it's
that's
the one
why
thing.
I ride.
Yeah, it's the one thing that you don't have to. You don't have to have special talents or go tear your bike up in a parking lot to be cool on Instagram.
Yep.
Like your dad, I follow the shit out of that dude on Instagram. Just all the fucking riding he does. It's like, I think that's an area of like company marketing that should be explored more, because there's a lot of people out there putting miles in. And same thing like you were saying about people asking about what kind of bike. So many people don't have a group of friends like some of us are blessed to have. You know what I'm saying? So they look and they follow and they want to live vicariously through our travels and shit. And some of them have the balls to just get up and go do a trip on their own, but not everybody does.
No, it's nice to have a friend. I at least like at least one friend to go on a trip with.
Sure.
Sometimes more than 4 could be a pain in the ass because
I'm dealing with
fucking stopping way too much.
I'm dealing with 5 other dudes right now, but they're pretty easy going. So.
Yeah. So I mean, again, like I'd like to ride, and again, I've said I've gone to Sturgis now for 5 years. I missed one because my daughter was born. My daughter's born August 11th, so I couldn't go. But I mean, we dream to ride to Sturgis every year, and the reason why I like Sturgis over any other trip, and we go on other trips, but I like Sturgis because when we pick the date we're leaving, I think we're gonna leave July 27th or something like that. We leave rain, shine, hail, 120 degrees. It doesn't matter. The weather doesn't stop us. That's what's cool about Sturgis is you have the date you need to get there by, and you deal with every single weather condition getting there. Yeah. So I remember one year we went through, I-40 or something like that. It was 120 degrees.
Hell yeah.
I think our nails felt like they were melting off of our fingers. That night, it was raining in Arizona. Then the next night, it was snowing in Colorado. And so it was just like the different temperature changes that you're going through and the different gear that you have to bring to handle the different temps. It's like, it's just hilarious. I mean, we're on the side of the road throwing rain gear on. Then, like, it's so hot, you're ripping the rain gear off and you're putting T-shirts on and you're changing on the side of the road to deal with it. And it's like, those are the stories that we remember. That's the funny stuff we're laughing about when we get to the room. When someone didn't bring, boot covers and their shoes are soaking wet when you get to the room, It's like, that's the stuff I do it for. And of course, I'm a talented motorcycle rider that likes to wheelie. I like to show off, but I don't own my Harley to do wheelies. I own my Harley to ride. I can do wheelies too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what it's all about, man. Like those trips you were just talking about, like the anticipation. I mean, that's what we were dealing with this trip. I mean, all these guys. This is my 4th time riding to Cali, just on this loop that we've kind of done, and it would have been my 5th year in a row at Sturgis last year, but I ended up missing it. So, but yeah, it's like there's this anticipation on the trip. It's like a week before, or hell, a month before, a week before, the day before. Like, did you pack enough shit? Did you do it the right way? Sometimes I just ship stuff there and ship stuff back.
I've always shipped a box worth of.
I just shipped shit
clothes
home back before I came here today.
Yeah,
and so there's
just
a lot.
So like you can like have enough room in your luggage to like move stuff around. You can be like, all right, at least there's like 5 shirts, 5 underwears, and a fresh pair of shoes when I get there, or something. But
see, I fucked up and brought one pair of shoes. These still got bugs on it.
Yeah, and you're in some thin Vans too.
Look at my shifter.
Yep, I hear you.
But yeah, it's a man. I love it, man. There's nothing better. It's like on this trip we're doing with my boys. Like I did a podcast with them like the second day, and we talked about the anticipation they had and what they're looking forward to, what they've thought so far, what they wasn't. Just all these different things. And I think we're gonna do another one tomorrow night after Born Free. Talk about the last like 5 days, 6 days or whatever.
Right.
And just that way people can kind of hear like normal non-industry guys, perspectives on like the experience of doing these trips. You know what I mean? I think that's where it's at. I mean, a good day running around town is cool for you guys, especially because you guys running around town is canyons and coastal riding and badass spots. In Dallas, we just swerving potholes and shitty drivers. And
I kind of had to make a thing even with my buddies though recently. Like, all right, we've done the Neptunes run. I mean, I've had Harleys now for 8 to 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I've done it. I mean, it's got to be almost 1,000 times. I've told my buddies recently when they call me, they go, "You want to ride a Neptunes?" I'm like, dude, I'm gonna save like 2 weekends worth of ridings just to go somewhere overnight. Like, I just want to go somewhere new.
So
I don't even just an overnighter. Like, let's rip to Kern River. Let's rip to Big Sur. Like, that's one of our overnighters. Like, so now I've kind of even tamed myself from riding every single. I ride to work every day, but I mean like riding every single weekend. It's so funny you say that because I that's exactly how I tell people. I was like, man, I've been riding so long. There's not one place in DFW that I'm stoked to ride to on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. But if you guys want to rip to Austin for the weekend or for the night, or you want to go up to anywhere, I'm the same way. I was like, I just want to go somewhere where I'm not, because when you go out and you ride, you can't enjoy it the same way if you know you're not going home. Yeah, I love it when you like get somewhere, and you know that even that day you're not turning around yet. Yeah. You're like going. You get somewhere and you're like beat, exhausted at a hotel room, maybe crack a beer and like you get a good buzz because you've like been out all day. And then it's like, even if the next morning you wake up and turn around and go home, that's like so much cooler. It's so much more relaxing. And it's like, the worst thing is like if you go out and you do want to have a couple beers, you're like, well, I can't. I'm having a blast, but I gotta cut this blast off because we gotta go back home tonight. Yeah. And then you got that one buddy that's on that ride with you, like the short day ride. Yeah. Who's like, yeah, but I gotta be home by 3. I gotta be home by 3 though, and then he's like pulling you, and you're like, dude, you get on your own bike and get out of here then. Exactly. If you gotta go home by 3. But no, I agree, man. That's exactly the same way I feel, dude. It's an amazing experience when you just fuck, man. And plus, you can go quite a ways in one day. Like you said, up to Big Sur and back. I mean, it's a good run. Yeah, a lot of good spots. The last time we rode Big Sur, and because you were just there, we kind of forgot like how long Big Sur took, like from the canyon of it. Oh yeah. So we were in. Did y'all ride from Morro Bay up, or did y'all cut over? No, we were down here, so we went like, I don't know the town, but we were in like San Luis Obispo. Yeah. And we were having a good time in the town, and it was like 4:45 or 5, and we're like, and y'all were like kind of go all the way up from there? Yeah, we did. We were like, like the sign says like 40 miles. Like, dude, we'll pull that in like a half hour. Yeah, well, you didn't realize how like tight and canyony it was. Yeah. And we ended up getting into Big Sur at like 8 at night, cloudy, cold. We were like, we didn't bring even the right gear for that. We were freezing out. Yeah, it was good times. But yeah, we could do Big Sur in a day, no problem. You just can't, sit in San Luis Obispo so long. But like one of my favorites, Kern River, and like that's pretty known
yet,
from like the Kernville campout, like Bill Wells Kernville campout. So the Kern River is a rad one. That's like 2 hours from here, like hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful river, nice little town, couple cool little bars. That's always a rad one. I mean, even Vegas for us isn't that bad. It's the desert the whole way. But, like, still there's something about the desert and just, like, putting some good music on and just kind of being in your head for, like,
That's
4
another
hours.
thing we talk about, how, like, you know, something that's overlooked about riding motorcycles is that there's different experiences from riding them, right? So you got the curves that you're just like, fuck, this is awesome. You got those sweepers, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But then there's those times where, like, you're riding through a straight road in the desert or a cornfield and something just clicks. You're like, this is awesome.
Yeah. And it's,
You
like, the thing is, like, it really... And there's a lot of people that will never experience what it's like to be your helmet on, not talking to anyone for 4 hours, and going 85, 90 down a freeway and just like thinking, like what goes on in your mind for the 4 to 5 hours is life changing.
True, man.
Know? And then especially when you feel the weather change, like even if it's midday, you go through like something that's like 90 degrees, and next thing you know, like out of nowhere, you feel it be like 80 degrees. You don't feel that in a car.
Yeah.
You just feel this like weather change around you, and you just like look around and you see. It's just trippy. I don't know, when you're doing it, and especially when you do it days on end, and it's like your 4th day doing it, and you're just really in your head. For me, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, I have had friends that have gone on long rides that have been like, man, I don't know about that, but I just think mentally they can't get at peace. Like
they're they need constant stimulation from like something else, whether it is conversation or something like that.
Yeah.
So being, you know, trapped in your thoughts for, you know, an hour and a half on end, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. A lot, you know, and some people are, and I've done this trip to Cali with 3 different groups of friends, you know what I mean? And and each one I had a great time, and I have these memories with these dudes, but, you know, it's not like, sometimes after they do these trips, they're like, okay, that was cool, checked off the list, never want to do it again. You know, and me, I'm like, I want to do it. Hey, let's start planning next year's event, you know?
That's so funny, because my dad, I'm always beating him up. Like, he loves to go to Arizona.
Yeah.
He
was just talking about it to me a while ago.
He will go to Arizona every single weekend. And I'm like, Dad, like, you've gone to Arizona 45 times this year.
Yeah.
Like, go somewhere. Like, he does go other places.
Yeah.
But, like, his go-to, like, without thinking, it's like, if he's like, oh, I don't know where to go this weekend, he's like, I'm going to Arizona. And it's just like, that kind of goes with your thing of people that say, like, they just check it off their list. Like, we check stuff off our list, but you see different things even if you go to somewhere 5 or 10 times.
And the people you go with can make the experience completely different too as well, you know, or even if, because I've done a few trips, you know, solo, which is weird. You know, I did the hot bike tour a couple years ago solo, and it was weird because that was the first time I ever did something solo, and I'm like, going to a place where everybody has their friends and I don't have any of mine, so I was like, okay, I'm the loser.
Yeah,
came out here.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But the cool part about it is, like, you probably made better friends there because you were alone, so you were forced to be like, hey, what's going on over here?
Y'all got room for one more?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's a, you know, there's a lot of cool. I mean, I did Daytona and I hated it, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was just the circumstances, the weather sucked. You know, whatever. Maybe it was a friend I went with. I don't think it was that, but just whatever it was. I'm like, I want to do it again, give it another chance, and you know, just see how it feels. But yeah, I don't want to like just check it off. Like, you go to Sturgis every year. It's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of different every year.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Even that, like, I actually haven't gone over the same route every time.
Yeah.
First time I've gone like up through Colorado, kind of the quickest way. Mm-hmm. Like Utah, Colorado. What is it? Wyoming or something like that, And then then I actually flew to Tennessee, rented Harleys, rode from Nashville, Tennessee to Sturgis.
That was probably a much different experience.
That was much different. I enjoy the from California there because there's just so many like mountains to go through, especially Colorado's so rad. Nashville was definitely more of like flat, longer from Nashville. And I mean, shit, that was like 5 or 6 years ago now, so I kind of don't remember like exact states and routes.
It's almost like if you stay in Tennessee is a beautiful state. Like from Nashville east is awesome, and then when you get west of Nashville, it's kind of like flat and it turns into the prairie, or not even prairie.
That's what we were going through.
Yeah,
which was cool, and we really started there because Ricky Carmichael came with us that year, and he was at the Loretta Lynn's like kids national race. Yeah. So it was like the weekend before, so we flew there, met him. and then we rode over.
Nice.
So then the following year, I think my kid was born, and then the next year we did maybe like, I don't know. Either way, I went over, like I said, over like Arizona, New Mexico, then Colorado up. That was one way.
I think it'd be cool if you were coming east to like go ride the UP through Michigan over the top and come in the north route.
Yep.
I got a lot of homies in Michigan now that I want to go up there, but it's just kind of like, it's a state that has a very small window of opportunity that you can go ride through.
Weather-wise,
and it's like it's like right in the middle of the summer, like now through September, and it's like all this shit going on, Born Free, Sturgis, you know. And I think we're going to the Four Corners Rally in late, August or some shit, Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
But yeah, there's so many cool routes. I mean, our routes, the fast route straight up north through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Very boring. Very boring. But you can it's 1,075 miles, so you can easily do that in a day.
Yeah, you can do that in a day for sure. Yeah, we're gonna do California, Oregon, and I'm not sure if we're gonna go up to Washington or not, and then then we'll go over.
That'd be cool, man. Oregon, it's so far. Like for us, like I get closer every year, but not quite there. Yeah. You know, I want to ride Oregon back. I want to go to fucking like see Seattle and all that shit, and then come down the coast. But
I mean, I've been there, but I flew there and like just checked it out.
Well, hell, like even have y'all gone through like Yellowstone and any of that shit yet? How's that?
We did Yellowstone last year, right?
Yeah, we stayed at Island Park.
Nice. Yeah, we did Yellowstone. Yeah, so a funny story about Yellowstone. We were cruising through and we like stopped at a bunch of like the what are they called? Like what were the springs? Right? Natural springs, like there were hot water boiling up.
Yeah, in Yellowstone.
Yeah, and then we went to Old Faithful, and we waited like, the hour or 45 minutes. We saw a tourist picking his nose and eating his boogers. We were dying laughing. Then we come out from the tourist place after seeing Old Faithful blow the water up, and we come outside, and there's a bunch of, I don't even want to like how you say this not being racist, but there were, I don't know if you say Asian people, but
that's the correct term.
There was Asian people posted up on all our bikes taking family photos.
Sitting on
like touching them, sitting on them.
Wow.
And they were like Harley Davidson. They'd never like seen them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? We a couple of years ago we were in Vegas and we were at the Harley Davidson dealership there, and just a group of Asians wanted to take a picture with us.
Yeah.
We're like, who the
big
fuck? Big
tattooed Americans. Yeah. Take a photo.
Get the bike in there. It was just crazy. And then it was funny because there's three of us, and then they asked for two of me and another dude to get out, and they want to take a picture with just one of the guys.
So one of them had a crush on him.
Yeah, we were just like, okay, we don't understand what just took place. Like, what did we do?
Yeah, that's comedy. But yeah, I mean, that's what we love. Sturgis is right now only like a month and a half away.
Almost a month, just under a month.
Yeah, so we're stoked. I'm getting stoked. The only thing I'm not stoked about is I put a 120 in my bike, my Dyna, and
just do the like a 120.
I did the 120 street, so California
from the Harley
dealership.
Okay,
yeah. So
they run hot from what I heard.
Okay, that's what I was just about to get to.
So wait, no, the street is actually the 120 ST. I heard that was made for riding on the street to keep it cooler because the original 120 was just a hot motherfucker.
I don't know. Either way, I put the street in my bike. Well, one, you can't get the R in California.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just was like, I'll just get the street, whatever. Like, I'm friends with fueling. I'll get some cams for it or something.
Make it better, yeah.
Yeah. So I get the street, and I throw it in my bike, and we tune it. We do everything. We make sure the air-fuel ratio is right. And, like, within the first 500 miles, I burn a quart of oil. I didn't feel that the bike was getting hot, but it straight burned a quart of oil. I poured another quart in. Well, I think I changed oil, filled it up, made sure it was right. Went up to Mammoth and back. That's like a 600-mile trip.
Yeah.
And burned another more than a quart of oil. Barely was touching the dipstick.
Yeah.
And that was just like within the first 1,000 miles. And I'm like, what the hell? So valves were a little wet, and I really couldn't figure out what exactly it was. So now I'm rebuilding the whole thing.
Was that the one with the motor out over there?
Yeah. So
just send the crank out and all that shit?
Yeah, send the crank out, and we're putting fueling cam chest in it. That way there will be more oil flow, get the oil temps down. And hopefully, maybe it wasn't scavenging enough. I don't know why it was burning.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get it, the oil flow better, the oil pressure better. I put better valve springs, a bigger cam in it, build up the power a little bit. So hopefully I can get it running. But again, with the crank being welded and putting Timken bearings in it, we're only 4 weeks out and my motor's not here.
Yeah, it's going to be
So
tight.
I'm not sure if I'm going to break it in going to Sturgis.
Maybe just break it in on the ride.
Or I have a rental bike already reserved for me at Bartell's Harley right now at Eagle Rider.
Yeah.
I might be riding just like a rental Harley to Sturgis.
And you get you one of those new special road glides, and that way when you get home, you'll want one.
That's exactly what it is. It's a Road Glide special. So I don't know. That's the only kind of like.
How do you pack out that dyno? Like, what's your go-to setup
for Sturgis?
Or just for traveling on it, like going places?
I'll just run like our escape bags on it. And
those little smaller ones on the sides?
We have a little bit bigger. So
Okay.
the essentials are like the size of, I want to say, a 6-pack can of beers.
Yeah.
I
think your advertising was kind of going.
Yeah,
talking
6-pack
about.
bags. And then the escape bags are a little bit closer to like a 12-pack.
There
You
you
could probably
go.
fit like 14 beers in it, but if you have a solid 12-pack, you could put a 12-pack in like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I'll usually rock the escape bags, like the 12-pack bags, and then I run a duffel bag on the back.
Just on the sissy bar. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
so duffel bag, those 2 bags. I like to carry a camera with me, so then that way I can
Take pictures.
take
shit.
memories of the trip and whatnot. And
What do you pack out mainly? Just
what I bring.
yeah, like what do you think you're like? 'Cause
So like the way I'll do it is I'm not sure. Like I'll usually have my camera somewhere close so that I can get to it.
Yeah.
So it'll be like at the top of one of the bags. I normally carry an extra pair of shoes because I've got had shoes get wet on the road, even with like rain gear and stuff.
Yeah.
So even if it's like a thin pair of Vans that like can just
Yeah,
smush
you can
at the
squish.
bottom.
Yeah, some little slip-ons or something.
And then I'll usually just rock like maybe one extra pair of jeans. And then I'll usually just do 1 t-shirt, 1 underwear, 1 sock per day. But then the biggest thing is rain gear and a couple layers of like jackets and like leggings. But I'll usually just have the rain gear at like the top of the duffel. So that way, like, it's the easiest thing to grab when you see those black clouds coming at you, you know?
It's kind of weird because, like, you know, I there's only one time in my entire life traveling across country, and it was like the first time I ever did it. We went to like Florida, and we got stuck in like the ass of a hurricane coming around, and we were leaving, but it was catching us and shit. And I didn't bring no rain gear because I wasn't really very educated in those kind of things. And
that was my first year to Sturgis. We wore trash bags the second day.
And then so I got soaked, and then the next time I brought rain gear and I did it, but then I've realized that sometimes, like, depending on how many miles you're throwing down, it's like you kind of go through the storm. And if it's not like a just pouring downpour, like you're in it for hours, like we just blast through it. And then
without rain gear,
really just blast through it. And then when you get done the other side, you got some miles still ahead of you, and then
you just dry off.
Yeah, you dry.
But you're talking about like a warm rain.
Yeah,
I've been in a warm rain before. Yeah, and that is different. But like Colorado rain, when it's like turns to hail, and then it's like freezing after, and it does stop raining, but it's like 36 degrees.
Well, Sturgis gets those fucking crazy hailstorms almost every year.
Yeah, so like those. That's why like I think we were going through Utah to Colorado the first year to Sturgis. And we like didn't see any rain on the radar.
Yeah.
No one brought rain gear. We're all from California. We've never even been on Harleys in the rain. You know what I mean? And then we leave for Sturgis, and it was like second day in. We literally were asking like the cheap motel if they had trash bags we could borrow. We used trash bags and duct tape, and we were still soaked the rest of the day.
That's crazy.
So.
But that area though, that like I want to say north, like around the Salt Lake City, just from this trip we're doing. It's like a pocket of mountains that like just churns up storms.
Yep, that's
and then
why
they move across.
That's why Salt Lake City has like such rad snow.
Yeah,
is because something about the way that mountain is and holds the water in there.
Yeah,
but
so we had to deviate our whole plans because we were going to go into Colorado and go to Steamboat and then come over basically through that path where the rain's always being made. We had to go around it. It was just storms, just one after the other crossing. Yeah. But we missed it all.
But that's the cool thing too about like riding, even on the ride you're on. It's like being like we don't book our hotels leaving, like we don't know where we're gonna stay even the first night. Like we'll just be like our goal is to make it to, let's just say, St. George, Utah. And like we'll set out to do that, and we've had guys clutches blow out within the first 100 miles, and next thing you know, we didn't even make it to Vegas. You know what I mean? So like we never book out our hotel rooms because we're just like we'll just see where it is at 3 or 4 o'clock at night. And then we'll just go on like hotels.com and like search the closest thing.
So the way we had to do this is that because we're doing camp hotel. So basically, we wanted to camp in certain badass places, right? So we camped at Pikes Peak, right? So some of these places you got to book it way in advance. Like even, I think we probably would have been okay to Big Sur, but Big Sur seemed like one of those places that you had to book in advance to kind of get a campsite.
Yeah, they have a bunch of like first come first serve, but they're not guaranteed.
Yeah, and then so we did Pikes Peak, Big Sur, Monument Valley. I think that's all the major ones. Then we camped in a buddy's backyard once, and then the other ones we call freestyle days. We're like, we don't know where we're going to end up. Yeah. So we'll get a hotel or we'll camp somewhere just based on where we end up, kind of like you were saying. And it makes it a lot easier. It alleviates a little bit of stress too, because you're not like forcing yourself to be there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it makes it way nicer. And I've done those trips. I've done. We did a six night trip camping. Yeah. That we did. I did Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, then Vegas. We stayed like at Red Rock in Vegas, and honestly, I can't even remember the national parks that we did stay at, or like even like the campgrounds we stayed at when we did this. But we covered like 2,500 miles along this trip, and it was a really funny trip that I did with some of like the higher ups at the CrossFit company, like the CrossFit headquarters company. Yeah. And they're all Navy SEALs. Oh shit. And like some of them didn't even own bikes. Some did own bikes, and some like got some rental bikes and stuff. And I'm just like laughing, like, oh, these guys are gonna be squids. Like, it's gonna be super easy. Like, and then cause they were Navy SEALs, dude, we were riding pitch black in the dark, like going 1,000 miles at a time, and like in the rain, and they like would never hold back. They'd set their like little bivvy tent up in the dark, wake up before the sun was up, and be like, all right, let's ride. And I'm just like, oh my god, you guys are ruining
You're not enjoying any of it. Yeah.
Like, what is the rush?
I hate that. Like when we leave that Texas, like Dallas, we always leave super early, like 3 a.m. Right, so we can kind of clear the not shitty, but the familiar areas. Like we're not stoked to see the areas that we can ride to every day. So you kind of get 350 miles out, and you start seeing fresh stuff, and so the sun's up by that time, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm somewhere cool to look at, you know. Yep. And then the rest of the trip, we didn't really get caught at night at all. The only trip that we kind of did was we had a lot of setbacks in Utah. Okay. One of our buddies' bearings went out just north of Moab, so we had to get a tow truck from Moab all the way to fucking Salt Lake City. So fortunately, I had a homeboy up there that let us use the shop. He ran to a dealership, borrowed one of the bearing tools from somebody, and we got him back on the road. And he's had more problems since then, but it's a funny shit. But
we had a really cool. It's a cool story for the whole motorcycle community. My first year to Sturgis, I was able to ride with Jesse Rooks. Oh shit! And I had known him a little bit, just kind of being in the action sports world. Yeah. He always made some pretty cool bikes for action sports guys. And he was riding a bagger, but it had an open primary on it. Mm-hmm. And his primary belt broke. And we were right on the edge of Utah in Colorado. Mm-hmm. It was a Sunday, so nothing was open in Utah. Yeah. It was like, I don't even think we had cell phone service where we broke down. It was raining. So we were under a overhang. This is me, Jesse Rooks, Carrie Hart, a couple other people. And we're under the overhang. We rip up to the, I think Carrie ripped up to the U-Haul, the closest U-Haul, closed Sunday. Yep. We already looked at that too. We're going like, Jesus, what do I do? Like what do we do? Like we're like 100 miles both ways from anywhere, So what are we going to do? We're sitting under the booth, and Carrie Hart's Supercross rig literally goes over the overpass going to one of the next motocross nationals. Wow. We were able to get on the freeway, chase the rig down, stop the rig. It had to go up another 40 miles to turn around, till there was another turnaround. We were able to load Jesse's bike onto the rig, then we all followed it. Big B was on the ride also. We all followed the rig, and then we found a chopper shop in Denver. That had the right belt. We got the bike fixed up, but cool story. And obviously RIP to Jesse, just like a crazy story with him. And
yeah, it's wild because he was in Dallas early or late January. Yep. He's real good friends with like Rusty from D&D. Okay. And we were gonna do a podcast together. We were all set up, and then him and Rusty got super drunk. And I'm sitting over there like waiting for the phone call to come over, and it's like, dude, we're going to strip club. We're fucked up, dude. So I missed the chance to do that. And Yeah, R.I.P. to that dude. He was he built some of the really coolest bikes out there. You know, very unique to his. He brought his own flavor to the scene.
He was a huge inspiration to me even before I had a bike. So again, like in that 2004 or 5 time,
yeah,
Roland had his bikes, but Rooks had like his like he did like those. He made like 30, you know, kind of small little mini bobbers that all had these like rad paint jobs and like FMF exhaust systems on them.
He brought a dirt bike flavor to it for sure.
Yeah, so he was always a really cool inspiration, and he
built those bikes around motors. It was like same thing that Roland did. He used to like he did that one for Kenny Roberts. It was like it was a V twin, but it was like a Suzuki or a Ducati or something like that.
Yeah,
I always thought
he used to put KTM V twins.
Is that what they were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He always did really rad shit. He was definitely an inspiration, and it's like he thought outside the box. Like you never saw a bike that looked like that before.
Yeah. You can talk.
I got buddies walking up next to us right now trying to decide which pegs he should put on his bike.
Is it pretty much just a Born Free rush or what?
No, I don't know why Dom's like wanting to put stuff on. I think he just had the day off and he's like it's been probably 4 or 5 years since we put any new bikes on Dom's stuff, and Dom's like goes on all our rides, and I said to him like, I'm giving you a new set of risers and bars because I'm tired of looking at your old shit.
There you go. Can't beat that.
Exactly.
So what do you think has been the highlight of just being in this industry so far? I mean, apart from like what you're used to in the dirt bike, you know, life.
That's a tough one to say. You know, I think like just again, I was more of an athlete in the dirt bike world.
Yeah.
You know, so I was able to wake up and just like go riding, go to the gym, and just like that was my job. You know? And then maybe like, you know, obviously do competitions when there was competitions, and I traveled the world a lot.
Do you find yourself in the competitive way, like taking that competitive nature and putting it towards a business in some kind of sense?
Yeah, because I know that like back with freestyle, like I would put 6 months of hard work to then, you know, like reap the benefits once I got to a competition. Mm-hmm. So I know what it's like to put in hard work, not really see anything come from it until you get to the end.
Yeah.
You know, so like I have that mentality here, like, you know, work hard, something's going to come from it. Like, even if you don't see it today, like, there will be something that comes from it. So I have that where I don't give up, you know, because I was able to achieve something in another industry. And I mean, it's a very similar industry, but in another motorcycle world. And then in this world, it's cool because it's like, it's just, again, I'm competitive, of course, but the stuff I make isn't for competition. Yeah. So I love like designing stuff with me and my buddies, or me and my dad, or whoever it be, and like we just make something that looks cool, is comfortable, it works right, it works better than stock. Mm-hmm. And then for us, testing it is like, all right, let's ride with this up to, like I said, let's ride with it to Kern River. And it's like that's like part of the job. You know? Yeah. So that's what's fun, and it's just kind of like what you're doing right now, like you're building your brand as you're on a road trip, and as you're meeting new people on the road. It's like, this is your job, you know? Yeah,
it's a, you know, my wife doesn't really understand it all the time, but, you know, because it looks like too much fun to her. Yeah. But, yeah, it is like that. And I guess in the same way for you, it's like I find my competitiveness in my business isn't so much that I'm, like, picking someone to be better than or go against. It's just, like, trying to just really just build yourself or your brand to, like, those ideas you get while you're on the road. You know what I mean? Because that's what I think about a lot. Like, I'm on the road, I'm like, man, like where should I push my business, or how am I living my life, or you know what I mean? Like, like a lot of assessment or whatnot. But you know, and then you kind of get home, and it's like the hard thing is it's kind of like being in a dream, right? Where or right before you fall asleep and you figure all this shit out in life, and then you fall asleep and you forget it all, right? So it's kind of like that sometimes on a bike. And sometimes some things stick real good, but it's like you just need to write it down, or if you can put a pen and paper
on your phone or something real quick. No, I mean, I think it's all fun. Luckily, my wife understands that fun is your job, because we were together before I became professional rider. Yeah. And then so she watched me through my whole career, and she obviously had more normal jobs working. She actually worked at the machine shop for probably 5 years under her dad. And then she worked at like Lululemon athletic store, and she went to college, and she had
a more normal life.
Yeah. So for us, it was like she would go to work, you know, 9 to 5, and I would sleep in and go ride my dirt bike. And so she has already known like, oh, Lance just gets to kind of have fun.
How was it? Like I said, my only connection to that world was I grew up riding sport bikes, and the 2 times in my life I've been on a dirt bike, it scared the fuck out of me. One of them was like a 2-stroke, and that was just ridiculous. There's no way I could handle that bike.
Yeah.
But just being off road and the uncontrolledness feeling.
Yeah.
When I came from a sport bike and then I rode a dirt bike, it was a complete opposite feeling on the road. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they say that if you're a really good dirt bike rider, it's easy to be a pretty good street bike rider, like sport bike, street bike, anything like that. But if you're like a really good sport bike rider, you doesn't transfer over to being a good dirt bike rider because of like that loss of traction and like jumping and like so many other things that just like are not what you're supposed to do.
Yes, it doesn't feel natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, like we were saying earlier about, having to be pretty young and athletic. I mean, what was working out? Was it like?
Yeah, it was full time. I mean, it was 5 days a week at the gym. It was eating right. The biggest thing was you could almost probably, again, because I didn't race, I did freestyle, so it was more of like being an acrobatic person. It was more about being strong so that you didn't get injured.
Yeah.
Right? So when you overextended your body, you didn't throw your back out. When you did miss a trick and landed funny, you didn't sprain your ankle. It was mostly so that there was muscle buildup. Yeah. So then that way that, when you made mistakes, your body was strong enough to hold it over. So that was always one. And then stretching and just being fit also mentally helps you be confident in your body. So then you're confident when you go out there and compete.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was noticing that, man, because just the little bit of time I did, like the shop I used to have, my neighbor had a dirt bike track next to it, and he was big into it. So he's always like, man, take it out there. And of course, I don't fucking know how to ride dirt bikes, so I can't hit jumps or, any of that stuff. I can go over the hills, know. And hell, just standing on it and just going around the track, it was already a workout in my shoulders and my biceps and stuff. And I was like, fuck, dude, this is like workout riding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you Google, obviously Google or YouTube my name, Lance Coury, Coury. And then you should also, while you're doing it, YouTube Lance Coury crash. And so you can see all my crashes.
Damn.
You could see some stuff that has a couple million views on there where you would almost think, like, how did he walk away ever?
Yeah, your dad showed me the helmet with your visor just crashed.
Yeah.
Said you didn't make the flip or some shit?
Didn't make the flip, and I was asleep in a hospital in Switzerland for a couple hours and, like, woke up and didn't even know where I was. And, like, nobody spoke English. And, yeah, so there's definitely a lot of crazy stories. There's a lot of injuries.
Where do you think the coolest place you ever went and rode and did that shit was?
The coolest place I've ever ridden a motorcycle was Egypt.
Egypt?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw the picture on your personal one, like you and some of the guys that were there.
Yeah. So I was able to go to Egypt and do backflips and stuff right in front of the pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff like that. So that was pretty incredible. I've done it in Dubai. I've done it on every continent. I've done it in, like South America, North America, Europe.
Is there any kind of like
Asia.
crazy added pressure doing it there? Or is it kind of like
it's mostly jet lag?
For real?
The jet lag, yeah. So you get there and like how many days early did you get there? And for the first like 3-4 days when you're in another country, like you're waking up in the middle of the night, you're trying your hardest and you're falling asleep in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So that's always pretty rough, but it's definitely a goal of mine because I have been able to ride a motorcycle on every single continent. It's a goal of mine now to do that on a Harley.
Same thing with me. Same thing as far as the goal, but not the past goal. So,
no, I get it. Like we even have at Thrashin, we sell to every country.
Yeah.
And I'll get photos of a guy, in front of the Eiffel Tower, or I'll get a photo of a guy, in Japan somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, like I almost want to reach out to these customers and be like, dude, I'm coming and staying at your house for a couple nights, and we're gonna go ride around your town.
Did you ever watch that documentary series, The Long Way Around and Long Way Down, with like Ewan McGregor and
I haven't
those
seen
guys?
it.
Dude, it's like I started wanting to travel across country, and that's been something I've been kind of fulfilling. But then like there's this bug in me, man, that I really do want to travel internationally, big time. It's been something
You've never been international?
No, I've never.
Okay.
I don't even have a passport, dude.
Yeah. Which nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think my dad had never traveled internationally until I started getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
And then I would take him as like my support.
Yeah.
Like I would bring him with me to like help me prep my bike, make sure like everything was good. But dude, it's a different world. I mean, it's just crazy in America we have a little melting pot of everything.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to go other places and see roads that are like literally cobblestone.
Yeah.
You know.
So watching that documentary, and it's awesome. So if you ever get time and Google it, it's just a long way around and long way down. It's two different.
They're two different ones.
Two different ones, but they're a series. So they're
Gotcha.
a TV show that they did it on BMWs and shit.
Yep.
And dude, it's awesome. But it's crazy because I'd already done a couple trips and just seeing how the two buddies were interacting. It's like it kind of put me in some reminiscent type mode where I'm like, oh yeah, I know the feeling they're at right now. It's just that they're in Mongolia. You know what I mean? So the first one they rode from London all the way around through like the Bering Strait kind of shit all the way around all the way around the world.
Yep.
And the other one they did from the northern tip of Scotland all the way down to the Cape Cod or something from I don't know if it's Cape Cod, it's Cape Town, I think,
yep.
in
South
Africa. It's just amazing, man. It really is cool. And then I started going down rabbit holes of different YouTube things and shit about people that do all this cross country riding shit, and it's like, it's something I kind of want to try. I don't know if I want to do it like if this is going to be the next big thing, but I thought it'd be cool to like get a bike and ride all the way to Argentina and back. You know what I mean?
So I had a buddy that did that.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was on the CrossFit trip with me, he had rented. He's super into Harleys. In fact, he actually works for Kraus.
For real?
He's his video guy.
Nice.
And he used to work for CrossFit. And he basically, his name's Tyson Aldroyd. He basically, I can't confirm the exact bike it was, but it was some sort of like Kawasaki, like dirt bike ish, kind of like African travel the world type of bike, like weird looking big dirt bike kind of thing.
Yeah, they got the African Twin, the Hondas.
That's the Honda, but like it was like something like that, but maybe a little dorkier Kawasaki ish. He rode it all the way down to the bottom of Argentina from the border of Canada.
Damn.
Yeah, and he's not a Navy SEAL, but he's in the Marines.
Okay.
And so they have that like mentality, like they can make it through anything type of thing.
Yeah.
And he was posting videos in like a rainforest in South America somewhere, like with the bike not starting. And he was like saying like, hey, anyone in America, if they can ask like the local Kawasaki shop, like, why is it doing this? Like he was fixing his bike. Like, dude, it was gnarly, the stuff he was going through. And he said he would go through towns that had no paved roads. And he said it was a gnarly deal. And it was a pretty cool experience from what I understand. He invited me on it, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. But he told his boss at CrossFit, he said to him like, hey, I'm gonna do this trip, so I'm gonna need to take, I think he was gonna take a year off of work or 6 months off of work. Like we're doing prep, and I don't know, maybe it was 6 months, I don't know. But the boss, the owner was like, hey, like your trip sounds so cool, I'm just gonna keep you on payroll and go do it. Wow. Yeah, so he got paid like the whole time. I think he had to like document it and blog it for him. Yeah. And like show the experience on their blog. But
that's cool shit, man.
Yeah. So it's somewhere on the internet. We could find it. And again, like I said, maybe if you visit Kraus or if you come across the guys at Born Free or something, like bring that up. Be like, dude, your guy Tyson, and he ride to Argentina on a motorcycle. Yeah, he's a badass.
Have you ever thought about getting into that now at your point in life, or trying it?
Like riding far distances on dirt bikes?
I don't know if I'd say just on dirt bikes, but just maybe the adventure style motorcycles and doing that, that kind of traveling.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I have like I've always wanted to get a dual sport.
Yeah.
But I have so many Harleys, and I just don't have time with the wife, the kid, the business. I'm just like, why am I gonna get that bike right now? I'm just never gonna use it.
Same thing for me. Yeah, I completely agree.
I just don't know when I have time, but I keep saying to some of my moto buddies, like, hey, I might get a dual sport, And now some of them are like, dude, just get an adventure bike. Yeah. They're like, if you like riding Harleys and you like riding dirt bikes, like you'll have way more fun on like those like KTM 1090s where it's like a V twin in it. Yeah. And it's got like moto suspension, and it's, from what I understand, it's pretty rad. And these dudes are like out camping in the middle of like the woods and stuff and riding.
See, everybody, I've been talking about it since we started this podcast about I want to get into it, but Harleys dominate my life right now. You know what I mean? It's, when I bought this this newer bike out here, it's like that was kind of the thing. It's like, this BMW 1200 GS looks pretty fucking dope, but I can't paint this up, and there's not a market in this. You know what I mean?
There's no customization market for sure.
So I was like, I'll save that for the 40s or something like that, but, and then a lot of people reach out to me. It's like, well, there's all these cool little trails you can do around town. I'm like, look, I'm not looking to ride off road. I'm just like, I'm trying to get from point A to point B. If some of that requires off roading, I'm down for that. But I'm not looking for the dirt roads to go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that'd be cool as shit. It's just, it's almost, you feel like you could do so much on just a Harley in general, at least from Panama north, all of Canada, all of that shit. So you know, it's kind of, or all of Europe. I mean, you can pretty much roll a Harley all through Europe.
I would do Europe in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'd be a little scared to go south of the border. I've never actually been to Mexico, so
You haven't done like any of the Baja trips,
and I have so many friends that have, and then I mean, there's a part of it like medically, like that's scary. Like if you get in like a motorcycle wreck or something, like it's just kind of freaky. And a really good buddy of mine, and this kind of doesn't really have a ton to do with Harleys, but a really good buddy of mine was Kurt Caselli. He was a Baja champion, and him and I had this conversation. I was like, man, I've never ridden a dirt bike in Mexico. I always used to turn down all the freestyle shows, and I just would say, no, I don't want to go down there. Because if you get hurt, like, what hospital are you going to go to? Is it clean? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. And he's like, oh, man, it's super good. And then, like, a year later, he got injured in Mexico, and he didn't make it.
Damn.
Yeah, and because he just couldn't get assistance to get... He was actually alive for, like, an hour after his crash, but, like, he couldn't get assistance and, like, didn't get medical attention. So it was, like... From there on out, I was just like, I mean, I know his circumstance was different. He was racing the Baja, but it's just like, I feel like if that happened in America, like we would have more like helicopters or something.
Most countries in Europe as well, you'd think, right?
Yeah. So that scares me a little bit, like third world country riding. Maybe I'm just not badass enough, or I don't know what it is. But I think like it's easier to put on my list, like, let's go somewhere that's not as third world first.
Yeah.
You know, like let's go be in another country, because you have to remember these people don't speak English.
Yeah.
So like if your bike breaks down or you need gas, like sometimes it's hard just to communicate that. You're on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And something went wrong, and you can't even tell the guy you need a Phillips head screwdriver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you got to keep all of that in mind. So at least in Europe, I think a little bit more people speak English.
Yeah, it's such a tourist trap for us Americans and you know, shit like that. So
I think that would be a little bit higher on the list. But I think I'll probably end up riding a motorcycle in either Europe or Japan first.
Japan would be dope.
Yeah.
See, before I got into motorcycles, I was big into like Nissan 240s and GTRs and shit. So my first time ever coming to California, we used to come here in big U-Hauls, and like we would bring motors back from like, you know how they would cut the cars in Japan? So we would bring like a shit ton of motors and front clips from like 240s and Skylines and take them back to Texas and sell them. And so I was big into that, but street racing was also attached to that. And then the tickets I was getting, and then I'd see all the sport bikes out there at the same street races. And when the cops come, they got away. I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to try this shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then here we are.
I liked car stuff, but I just don't like how much room it takes up in my driveway or in my garage. And you can't own a couple of them because it just costs too much. So that's why I got into Harleys.
Same thing. Like we when we first started painting, man, we would do cars too and shit. And as we got more known over the years for painting motorcycles, it just like even a bumper from a car, which might be a lucrative thing to paint at one point or another, it's just not worth it. And then I like to be able to say, like, you know, which we don't really deal with any walk-in customers anymore, but back in the day, it's like, man, do you see anything for a car in this shop? It's like, that's not what we do. Like, take your shit down there, or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's, I don't know, man. Cars are cool, but I'm at a point now where I'd rather just buy them done.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, my buddy, like that FXR that's in our shop right there, he's super into, like, Skylines and all that. So he's got a couple of drift cars. He's got a right-hand drive car. But then he's just as into FXRs and Dynas. So he's got that 93 or 4 FXR, and then he has a 01.
Dude, I don't know how people
FXDX.
have more than one hobby, man. I can barely afford one hobby, dude.
He is a professional motocross racer that makes a lot of money.
Nice, okay.
But yeah, it's definitely not a cheap thing to have two expensive hobbies.
Yeah, it's fucking tough, man. It's tough because, like, you know, almost, and I gotta change my ways a little bit on this, because every time I can make time for myself or get out of work for a time, it's always a bike trip planned. Yep. And I got to start taking my wife somewhere cool, other than like, hey, we're going to Sturgis, babe, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hawaii is a nice one if you want to go there.
Yeah, the good thing is she's got family there, so we can get some free room and board.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect. See?
Cool. So what do you think is going to be coming up for Thrashin and shit? Like, you got any big plans that, you know, this year, or just like more hard parts you got coming out?
That's a tough one to say. I mean, I think that naturally, yeah, there's some stuff designed that isn't even out yet, and obviously like stuff that I like to keep under wraps just because there are so many people chomping at the bit to kind of get more market share in this world, you know. And things take a while to make, so like when someone sees something come out from Trashin Supply, they, you know, for them to ever think like, oh, they like copied this brand or they did that, it's like, dude, for us even to get a new bar bag out takes, you know, 6 months to a year, like between drawing it, sampling it, testing the sample, changing that sample, then putting it into production when we're ready, and then waiting for production time. I mean, that takes the quickest you could really get it done is 6 months. For real. You know, so like these, you know, people that are like, oh, they copied this person, and no one said that about Thrashin. But like when people think like that, like it takes a long time for a brand to develop something. But I think for us, it's just expanding kind of what we're already on, and then maybe a little bit more. I think it's obvious in the bagger world, and you even said at the beginning of our conversation, like baggers are the way to go. And we've had bagger floorboards for
a while now.
Yeah, 4 years.
They're in drag, aren't they?
They are in drag. Yeah. So our bagger floorboards have been 3-4 years or so, but you know, maybe expand our handlebars more into the bagger world.
I think that's one thing, because you know, right now it's a limited of options for people to run, you know, T-bar setups or moto bar setups. So it's like, you know, I maybe the ways of figuring out how to do it are all on the table with a Raptor plate or West Coast T-bars or something like that. But I feel like it's an area that could use some more availability, if that makes sense.
No, you're definitely right, for sure. So I would say the biggest thing to publicly say is like Trashin Supply will be way bigger or more into the bagger world in the next 12 months. And you said yourself while we were talking, like, I see your dad, he rides thousands of miles, he's always on the road. He's a perfect person to be like, how was it on that ride? So even if I don't own a bagger, there's a bagger at my shop once a week, and it's my dad's, and my dad's putting 40,000 miles a year on it.
Exactly.
So we're putting the parts through the test. He's riding in the snow. He's riding in the heat. He doesn't really care what the temp is when he leaves.
Yeah.
So I would say bagger world, you know, we have one set of bagger floorboards right now. Hopefully have 2 or 3 in the next couple months. And then all the stuff to go with it, kind of some brake pedals.
Like trinkets would make it'd be nice that, you know, that's what's cool about the dynos and the FXRs and like all the brands such as yourself, is that there's all these like things you can add to it to kind of give it that, like, this is my generation of a motorcycle thing, instead of like all the Kuryakin and shit that you're gonna get from a bagger. So it's kind of cool because you can see those bikes and you feel like you're just like, oh, these are my guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the cool thing too, obviously with Thrashin, all of our hard parts are made in America, and you saw while you were in here our machinist walk in and drop off a part for my neighbor's table. It's not even for a Harley. But it's like we're really focused on American made, and I think while we're doing that, we're kind of focused on making that like small batch production part. You know, we're not trying to pump out like parts made in Taiwan, parts made in China, which a lot of brands are doing. So we're trying to focus on, you know, top material, high quality.
You want to be big enough to sell your products out, but not so big that China copies it.
Exactly.
You don't want to deal with what Ness and Roland and all those dudes deal with. Like, those parts, it's crazy because when we used to do a lot of bike builds ourselves, you'd get customers, you're quoting a price for like some Ness grips or some Ness floorboards, and then they find it on eBay for like pennies on the dollar, and they're like, dude, well, these are cheaper. And it's like, it's fucking Chinese knockoffs, dude. It ain't the real thing. And then, you know, some customers just don't really give a shit. It's all about the bottom dollar. You know what I mean? So
high quality stuff like that, and we'll kind of see where it goes. And again, we'll change with the market because we're riders ourselves, and we're gonna go with.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad you put that out there. I'm glad y'all promote that, because I think that's the most untapped thing in our industry, is just making it glorious to fucking ride a bike across country, or just ride it far, like you said, like we said earlier. Like, dude, just rip somewhere for the day and come back tomorrow. It doesn't matter where you go.
And you'll see that. You're on our Instagram. Yeah. We probably post maybe one wheelie a week. Yeah. Maybe. It's not a wheelie
Wheelies
Instagram.
are like the new titty pics for fucking, it's like, if you want to get some mad followers, like,
Yeah.
dude, we need a dude with our shirt with a willy.
Yeah.
Or if you want to like sell out, then you go get a whole bunch of models wearing your shirts and shit,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, I thought you were a bike shop, but
Yeah.
apparently Anna Cherry wears your shit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is you'll see like that one, or every so often, and you'll see like a chick maybe wearing our shirt, but like she was naturally like hanging out with us.
I thought that the advertisement thing y'all did with like the beer store with the chicks, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
because it was like, it's kind of real, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it's so real that it's the beer store around the corner, and there were girls hanging out here. So it's never really like a paid girl. It is naturally someone we're hanging out with. Like you probably saw the one that for us kind of like hit our peak with the girl that was throwing her boobs out on the side while she was on the back of the bike.
dude, I screenshotted that.
Yeah, so that was Dom right here, who's sitting with us, and that was a girl that he had picked up. At what bar were we at?
It's the big two-story one on the corner.
Uh,
trying to think of the name, but that's it.
It's some big ass titties, dude. You have fun with those?
yeah, dude, it was like One-Eyed Jacks or something,
Yeah,
Sturgis. Like,
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That was Sturgis.
yeah, that was Sturgis.
Hell yeah.
And that's the thing is like that photo was not planned, dude. I was riding next to both of them, and I jokingly like went to the girl like this, like lifted my shirt up, saying it for the people listening, like lifted the shirt up, and she looked over at me and lifted the shirt up. Luckily for me, I had my GoPro out and caught it.
Because
That was the first time the girl's ever been on a bike too. Never been on Harley.
Nice.
Yeah, so none of our photos are like posed, or we didn't pay that girl, $500 to do that, or give her something free.
Yeah.
It was the lifestyle that we're living.
Yeah.
It's what happened at the time, and I really held that photo for almost a year.
It was like a couple months ago. You
Yeah.
released it, yeah.
And I was just like wasn't sure, like, okay, like I don't want to post it like full nude on Instagram, and then I don't want like, dude, like when we do stuff like that, we get girls on there like, screw you guys, like you guys aren't,
Yeah.
which we're not. I love girls. I have a wife, I have a daughter, like it's
Yeah.
not like that, but at the end of the day, like it was a pretty rad photo, and I think girls actually respected that one pretty well.
Yeah, it's like you put it out there right, and then there was an option, going further. But yeah. I like I said, I do. It's like I felt like your marketing techniques with capturing it that way, it felt more natural. Like it felt like, dude, like that's the kind of shit I want to see. I don't want to see some, voluptuous, like perfect chick that you know what I mean. That's just like not
got
real.
Makeup done and
Definitely
sat on a
does
bike.
not give shit
Yeah.
about the motorcycle industry. Like
Yeah.
I want to see the girls that I could probably pick up. You know what I
And
mean?
this girl you could have picked up at One-Eyed Jacks that night. So that's a true life story.
That's crazy.
There
I
are
forgot-
young cute girls in Sturgis, as much as people say there aren't. They're out there.
Yeah, I totally forgot that was like y'all's thing, because one of my buddies that's on this trip is like a huge fan of y'all. He has like everything you sell.
Right.
And the other, and he posted on our little chat, 'cause we got one of those little Google chats that we all, like our group in Dallas, talk to and shit.
Yep.
And when it came out, he fucking screenshotted it, put it in our chat. I'm like, God damn. And then I remembered, and I bought some of y'all's gloves before I went on this trip, because I wanted something kind of thin and shit, just not some big Harley leather ones. And the same thing on the page, I was like, oh shit, there's that picture, and I clicked it and went to the original. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna save this shit.
yeah. But you see, I kind of like made a detour. Like it's on the website, but you then got to click to like really get to it. I don't want to turn off people. I don't need like young, 15-year-old.
I really just screenshot. I wanted to show my wife, and she would do the same thing for me.
Can we reenact this, babe?
Yeah. Come on, babe, let's do it.
Nice.
But yeah, I thought that was cool, man. I've always enjoyed like y'all's way of branding things and the way y'all presented your company. And like I said, how long you been on Instagram now? Because I've started following you maybe 6 months ago, I think.
I don't know, maybe a couple of years.
Couple years, but out of nowhere, it just seems like
last year.
Yeah. I mean, and then like I saw somebody shared your shit. I started following it, and then realized it was your dad. And I was like, man, like you come from a really rich motorcycle environment, man.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, my dad didn't ride until we both got Harleys around the same time. You got probably your first Harley in like 04 ish.
08.
08? I was like 14.
2008.
Really?
Road King.
Oh
Nice.
wow. Okay, so 08, but like.
But I told him he needed to get a Harley.
Well, I my first bike was a chopper.
For real?
Yeah, I didn't build it, actually. A shop, Santa Clarita Choppers. They're
Okay, yeah.
right around the corner. They built it for me. I was, I think, about 16, 17 at the time. And I was able to get an FMF exhaust off of Rooks. Mm-hmm. So I got an FMF exhaust. It was full titanium. It was a was it a 99 cubic inch SNS? Was that?
96.
No, the 96. Yeah, I was like,
96.
well, I don't know why I was thinking 99. It was a 96 cubic inch SNS on a Craft frame with a 6-speed RevTech.
Was it twin cam style or
It was an
Evo?
Okay. It was an Evo with PM brakes and a Springer front end, ape hangers, and the thing was fast as shit, but rattled everything off of it. And I don't even want to blame it on the builder. I just want to say that like
that's just that style
a
of bike,
96 inch Evo on a Craft frame.
Yeah, no rubber mount, nothing like that.
And I was riding it.
Oh shit, yeah. Dude, you
So I'm riding that bike like it's a dirt bike, you know, like I'm a 17-year-old, and so it broke every time I rode it. Not like mechanically, but just the tank would fall off.
How do you think, would you ever like go back? Would you ever revisit that style of bike, but with your new taste of motorcycles?
I wish that I still owned that bike.
For real?
I wish I still owned it just for the factor of like, just to go like down the street on it. It was fucking rad, but I would definitely love. Well, I mean, look over there. I have a 56 Panhead.
Oh, that's your Panhead?
Yeah,
Okay.
waiting to get made. So I'm gonna go back to that. And again, I kind of realized like first of all, it doesn't need to be a 96 cubic inch in that style frame. Like that was way too much bike for that setup. And so I definitely am gonna revisit it, and that's why you see a Panhead behind me. But again, just to go slower and just to go like maybe to Neptunes and back. But I guess Dom and I claim that we're gonna ride Panheads to
80th.
Sturgis for the 80th.
We're running out of time. Well, you got a Pan?
I got a pan shovel that's been in the
Nice.
family since the 70s. So
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
that's my first bike.
Yeah, I think my last FXR was like just an awesome bike, and I ended up, selling a lot of the stuff off of it. But I want to do another FXR, but I've been torn. I've been torn because I want a chopper, but I really don't want to go full chopper.
Yep.
I want to do like an 82 FXR because it's my birth year.
Yeah. Like a shovel head FXR.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if y'all follow this Al Emerson dude. He builds out of the Midwest, and he builds like these like D-rake style, Frisco looking tanks.
I've heard the name.
And
I
he's
think I've seen it on Instagram.
He's been working on this one for a long time, but it's a twin cam conversion, all, up in the air D-raked, fucking nice ass like 9-spoke wheels, track swing arm, like all the kind of performance shit you put on your bike, but it's just a D-rake chopper.
Yeah.
So I think that's the route I want to go with the shovel, but I want to have it all decked out with dope ass mids and fucking titanium exhaust and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And that's the one I want to build that I keep. That's going to be the only bike I will never get rid of.
Yeah.
But
that's how I feel with this Panhead already, because how much money I've spent trying to build it. I'm like, I am never selling this thing. I had a budget in my mind, and it's definitely gone over budget, but it has to get done.
Yeah. So basically, you have the Panhead and a couple other bikes. I mean,
I have Panhead, FXR, Dyna, and I had a Softail, but I sold that to Luke.
What, a newer Softail?
Yeah, it was that blue one.
What'd you think about the newer Softails in comparison to the Dyna and all that shit?
I liked it, but I didn't. My biggest hate about it is I hate the throttle by wire.
Oh, you don't like that?
I personally like a carburetor.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I at least like the throttle body with the cable throttle, because it's just like what you twist the throttle happens. On the electric one, you can tell it's not doing what you're wanting it to do. Like that butterfly is not opening 100% when you're opening the throttle 100%. So, and it's like delayed. It just like doesn't feel the same. It feels like playing a video game almost.
Yeah.
So I always hated that, and then like my throttle always had problems. Like the bike would not read correctly, and it was like it would sputter. I don't know what it was, and I think Luke got it fixed finally. It was something with the ECM.
Yeah.
But I didn't like all those electronics, dude. I just love on the FXR. There's like realistically you only need like 10 wires. And it's like worst come to worst, like you can figure it out on the side of the road.
Yeah, trust me. When I built my gold FXR, that I'm kind of known for, I guess you'd say, and I broke it in riding it here. It was a Ultima motor, which I ended up getting quite a bit of miles out of it, but I learned how to work on the bike on the trip here. So basically, first problem was we had primary issues all the way to NorCal, right? I'm on the side of the road. I'm getting in my notifications as 2 years ago, right now.
Yep.
And ended up one of my buddies, when he put all the shit on, there's a spacer that goes on the outside of the compensator. He put it on the inside, so it had my shit spaced out. to where it's fucked up. And it was he put it on the outside. It was supposed to be on the inside, so it was like it was scraping the inside of the dill, and I didn't catch it or get it figured out till we got to NorCal from Dallas, and then on the way to Born Free, I'm sitting there. I'm like coming around this canyon to get into it. I'm like, man, my clutch isn't working. What the fuck, man? It's like tight. It won't go in. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. The primary's good. We went through it all in NorCal. Fixed it all. It was great. It's like, what the fuck? So I'm on the side of the road at the entrance where you turn into the little area from the main road. Big, flashy, gold, flaked out, full fairing FXR. Primary's off. Clutch is out. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then one of my FXR buddies that I actually met on that trip ended up coming by. We ended up figured out in the transmission cover where the little balls are for the clutch. They came out.
Oh shit!
And so it was
like they came out when you were working on the primary.
No, when I was riding, one of them came out, and it just wouldn't. It was still in there, in the cover, but it was out of the thing. Yeah, so it wouldn't engage the thing, and it was like, fuck, man. Yeah. Fixed it and rode it to Sturgis, Florida, and all kinds of shit afterwards. Never had any problems, but
that's the thing is like the more electronic you get, the more you kind of struggle to be able to fix stuff on the side of the road.
Yeah, dude.
So I didn't like that, and I mean it had a ton of power, but I also ride Harleys because I like for them to be kind of like riding a bull.
Yeah.
And like, even I let my buddy who all he's ever owned is a new Softail. I let him ride my FXR to like go get oil from like the Napa or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, this bike like rumbles under you so much more than my bike. And I'm like, yeah, that's like why I like it. Like, it just has life to it. You know, it's the same as like a I don't know, 60s Chevelle versus a new Camaro or something like that. It's like they both could have 500 horsepower, but one of them's gonna be like bah, 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 and like kind of like bouncing around. You're gonna like smell fumes while you're in it, and it's like you're just gonna feel like the rawness of it.
I can see that. I can agree to that quite a bit.
And the new one's gonna have like perfect AC, a really comfortable seat. The suspension's perfect. It's gonna stop better. It's gonna have the same power, but it's like it's just not gonna have that like heart and life to it. That the older one has.
That's why I feel like the FXR thing has gotten so big over the years. You know what I mean? It's always been big, but just the way it's a very romanticized bike now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because of that. It's almost like all the chopper guys are going to FXRs.
Yep.
And then
they are for sure.
A lot of the Dyna guys are kind of stuck. Like, oh well, the FXR rides better, but so does the Softail. But I don't know if I know how to work on the FXR, and I don't know if I have the credit for a new bike, so it's like people are torn.
Yeah.
I feel like the Dyna right now is a bad place to be in some aspects.
Yeah.
They're still a great bike. I still enjoy them, but I feel like they're kind of like now they're stuck in between an FXR and a Softail, which are two technically kind of better handling bikes.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. No, I mean, I kept my Dyna. I could have sold my Dyna and kept the Softail.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't need to sell any of them, really. I sold the Softail because Luke wanted one.
Yeah.
Hold on. These guys are trying to... What are you trying to sell? What does this guy want?
I think he wants Slims.
All right, let's see. So as you guys are listening, I'm going to try to help them sell some foot pegs real quick. Let's see.
Cool.
He wants Slims for what? Do you know?
I don't know what year bagger it is.
It's for... Oh, gotcha.
Black.
Here, why don't you talk to them real quick? Tell them about your experiences in watching. So everyone, I'm going to introduce my father. He's got the exact same name as me, Lance Coury. He rides more miles on his Harley than I do, so he might actually have some cooler stories than me.
Cool. 2 for 1.
Yeah. What's happening?
What's up, man?
Not much. Just hanging out Friday night, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy when I walked up and I didn't know you were gonna be here, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like I kind of nerded out on you a little bit, dude. I was like, "Fuck, I follow you on Instagram."
Right on.
Yeah, no, but that's cool, man. It's cool that you're out there just living the dream, man.
It's just the best thing ever, just to be out riding. It's kind of what I live for.
So like you said, you got your bike in '08. So what was the catalyst, man? What made you want to do that, and what's turned into this fire to ride this bike everywhere?
Well, I took Lance moto racing his whole life and then followed him on the freestyle circuit. I raced whitewater kayak, slalom.
Yeah.
And then if you asked me back then, would I ride street bikes, I'd say no way.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine said, hey, you should get a Harley. And I'm like, huh, really? Got one. And the day I got one, it was just like on. It was like, whoa, this is it. I had an 08 Road King, a 2010 Street Glide, a 2014 Street Glide, and now I have my 2018 Road Glide, which is my favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
You know.
So what do you like when you first got into riding it? Was it kind of like your local friends was doing the local circuit, like the little bar here, the little bar there, or did you kind of immediately get like? So was that, and then that got boring, I would imagine.
Well, we did a little bit of that, and the guy I rode with would be like, "Hey, let's ride to Vegas, let's go here," and so we were doing longer rides, and I'm like, "This is the way to go." You know, a lot of guys go to Neptune's, or you know, and to me, it's like, "Hey, you want to go to Neptune's?" I'm like, I'll go to Neptune's after I finish a 300-mile loop somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then we'll end up there, you know.
Exactly.
So, and then a buddy of mine that I've known for 25 years, I hadn't talked to him for a while. He had a bike. And him and I are like identical. You can see him on my Instagram page. We just figure 500-mile day.
Yeah.
We're going to start pushing at 750, just as far as we can go in a circle, you know, wherever. We end up in Arizona, Utah, Northern California, Sturgis a few times. We're going again with Lance and Luke from Fueling and those. We're just going to, and our thing is 5 days to get to Sturgis. We have more fun getting there
than there.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I agree with that. Yeah.
So
he was saying you love Arizona. What is it about Arizona?
I just dig the fact that you can be in altitude, you can be in the desert, you can be in snow, you could see great storms. I like the old West. Yeah, you know, I take my hat with me. I take
it you've been down to Tombstone before, right?
Oh yeah several times.
It's a cool spot.
Have you ever been to Bisbee?
No.
It's a must. It's a half hour from Tombstone, and actually in the movie Tombstone, you hear the guy say, "Yeah, I just got back up from Bisbee." Okay, it's an amazing old copper mining town.
Yeah,
great place to hang out.
Yeah, I was kind of same thing that happened to me when I went to Deadwood. Like when first time I went to Arizona Bike Week, we stopped in Tombstone on the way home, and I was like, dude, like you see the plaques on the ground and shit. Like this is where the OK Corral shootout was, and same thing when you're in Deadwood, and you're like, this is the chair that Wild Bill was sitting in. I'm like, I'm a nerd for that old history shit, man.
I love the old history, and I mean, I've been with Lance on freestyle trips in Europe, and standing at the Ardennes Forest and think, wow, there was like the Battle of the Bulges right here.
Wow.
I mean, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it, you know. So it's cool. And you just get so much happiness out of bikes.
Yeah. I think that too, and I think you get a lot from the traveling on them, man. Like you know, like I was telling him, and I'm kind of glad all this came about, because that's one thing I promote a lot is just getting out on these bikes and riding them, and you know, you really find such a better experience of on your motorcycle when you're, like you said, like pushing a 500-mile day or getting out of the town for the night, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. It just becomes
There's places that I've been that I would never have gone if it was in a car.
Yeah, 100%.
And the other thing I like about it, too, is I service my own bike.
Yeah.
I do all the work. I wash it. And it's almost like you get to know it. And you always say, if you get off your bike and you walk away and you actually don't turn back and look at it, you're not digging your bike.
When you look in your phone and all the pictures of your bike and not your wife.
Right.
Yeah. So you said you had some other bikes, and this one was like the one. Like, what is it about the new bikes that you really just enjoy the most?
I just like the road glide. I had the street glides, and I like the fixed fairing, especially when you're traveling in weather.
Yeah.
It just, for me,
Yeah.
When I did the suspension and I did the motor work and I have the fairing, my confidence in riding the bike, I trusted the bike so much more.
So much better, yeah.
You know, when you're on a big sweeping turn side by side with your buddy going 90 and your bikes are shaking, that's terrible. But when they're on a rail, you're like,
it makes it even better of an experience. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so you did you said you ended up doing like a fueling setup in there too to get some nice power out of that thing.
Yes, I did the fueling oil pump, cams, 465 lift. I have a Cobra exhaust, all the Thrashin bolt-ons, but the power was great. It went from 71 horsepower. It's a 107. I turned it into 114. It went from 71 horse to 110 horse, and 98 torque to 125 torque.
Damn.
So it rips.
That's a big wake up. Yeah.
So it rips.
Yeah. So what do you think about, like, I mean, these trips that you do are pretty sporadic? Are they? You know what I mean? It seems like every other weekend you're out running around somewhere.
We are pretty much every other weekend. Sometimes we have to tell our wives, "You can't go with us. We're just going. We'll go out explore places.
And then bring the
That's
wife
our
back.
big excuse. We'll be gone for 4 days, and when we come back, we'll tell you if it's a good trip for you.
Yeah, that's actually,
You know,
there's some truth behind that though.
right. Because we've been in Williams, Arizona in January, where we get up in the morning and it's like 19 degrees out,
Damn.
and we're like, well, let's go, you know, and we love it. If we're out in it, we're in it. Our wives are used to 500-mile days, and we just go. And if it's raining, we put the rain gear on. If it's snowing,
Yeah.
hold on tight, let's go.
Exactly.
We've been on the rim of the Grand Canyon in a blizzard with kind of the sun shining and rainbows. And I mean, things that you would never see if you said, oh, it might rain, we're not going.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta
No way.
face the elements, man, especially when you're going on trips, because, you know, it sucks anytime when you leave and it is shitty outside. It's kind of like, man, maybe I can wait it out. But when you're on the road, like you said, man, you're living in whatever the
Right.
nature's throwing at you. You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, like you were saying, like you can see those storms in the distance. That is a spectacle to see.
Oh,
You
totally.
know, the big valley, and you see it just coming down, 15, 20 miles away, but you're dry at the time.
And you're like, when are we going to stop? When are we going
Yeah.
to stop? We're going to pull over and get our suits on, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because we were coming in from Big Sur yesterday. We were coming in and we were going to come over the Santa Monica Mountains there.
Uh-huh.
And so all these clouds have just been hanging on the coast this whole trip. And we're riding, and you're kind of getting to a point where you're going to go up the pass. And the clouds were coming over the mountains and dipping down. I'm like, holy shit, I'm on the ground. And I'm looking
Right.
at the top of clouds right now.
Right.
And it was just one of those things. Perfectly sunny skies. And then we go to the top of the hill. We're coming over the pass, and 10% visibility.
Right.
Like going through those clouds and the fog back down in the San Diego or Santa Monica. No, what the fuck is that?
Santa Monica?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, yeah.
Sorry, that's right.
Yeah.
Too many S fucking places around here. So,
Right.
But yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yeah, and it's like you can go. There's so many places in Arizona, whether it's Jerome, Sedona.
I want to go to Jerome. Yeah.
Jerome's awesome.
Yeah.
You come out of the mountains, you come out of the desert. Now you're up on the top of these mountains, pine trees. You come around the corner, and there's this town hanging on the side of a cliff,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Prescott's really great. Flagstaff. I mean, we just already booked rooms in February.
Yeah.
For we're actually staying on some cabins on the rim of the canyon,
Yeah.
so we can be there at night.
So have you ridden like north of the North Rim and those areas up there? Or what
I've
do you
been
think?
up on the top. We went through Utah, through Zion and all that. We didn't go to the North Rim. I've been there before, but not on the bike.
Yeah.
But we went up through and then came down through
So
Monument
we're
Valley.
supposed to hit Zion on this trip, and I've been to Monument Valley plenty of times. That's like my most favorite place.
Right.
And a lot of people tell their story about Monument Valley. So what do you think about that place? What do you think?
I think it's great because I love the desert. It's just amazing. It's very open.
Yeah.
And it's sporadic buttes coming up.
Yeah.
But it's got a greatness to it. you
Yeah,
know?
it's weird. It's like you can't really explain it because you're literally going on a straight road.
Right.
But there's just something fucking magical, if you will, when you're riding to it.
Right.
And it's just like this calming peace that like comes over you while
Right.
you're going, and it's
Right.
like I don't know if it's because those the what are they called, buttes?
The left and right mittens, the buttes.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's because like that's all that's in your view,
Right.
and then there's nothing around it that just makes it so like focused and like transcendental, I guess you will, and it's just a crazy experience.
Yeah, and there's a whole. You go through Utah, the lower part of Utah. We went through 7 national parks, and we were blown away again, not expecting it.
Yeah.
There's a place called the Moki Dugway
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Highway, and it's like you're on the road heading to Monument Valley,
Yeah,
and you go through Mexican Hat.
I've done that.
Okay,
yeah.
but before that, it's the Moki Dugway Highway, and it saves you 50 miles. But it's sheer cliff, dirt road, back and forth donkey trail
Wow.
down to the bottom of the road. And it was mind blown. And we rode it.
Yeah.
My wife's on the back videoing the whole thing, and it's like another thing that we didn't expect. And a lot of the trips that we do, that we might say, all right, first night we're going to go here and we got a hotel, we're set. And after that, we don't plan anything because we
Yeah.
might be riding and say, where's that road go? And next thing you know, we're on it. We
Yeah.
no schedule, no
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, so after Sunday we're going to Vegas and we're gonna live it up there, and then after that we go to Zion, and I've never been there, so I want to check that out. And then we're gonna pretty much ride all South Utah from there.
You'll love it.
To Monument, and then we're also planning on hitting that $1 Million Highway to Durango.
Okay.
So I've never ridden that one before either, but
Well, we've been in last year on the way to Sturgis, or the year before, in Laughlin, Nevada, 115 degrees. The next day we were in Durango in the snow.
Exactly. So 2 years ago when I was on this trip coming out here, I was on that gold bike I was talking about, and y'all had this massive heat wave everywhere right around Born Free. And so when we were coming from Vegas here, it was like 121.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, and I keep telling the guys, like, look, it's going to be hot. Bring things that can cover your skin, but, let air pass through or whatever. And they weren't listening. One of them's like, oh, man, I'm fucking in short sleeves. Like, dude, it's like having a hairdryer on your skin while you're riding, dude. It's the most, it burns.
Right.
Those
heat sleeves are the best.
They are?
Yeah.
I haven't tried it, yeah.
You put those on and it's sunblock, and then you sweat in them, and then it's like a swamp cooler.
Oh, yeah. So we'd stop at a gas station, get a 12-pack, or not a 12-pack, but a big bag of ice, and lay it on our tank and our thighs, and it would melt. We were filling our helmets up with water. Dude, that's how hot it was, man.
Right.
As soon as you put it on, it felt great, and then you get like 5 miles on the road, everything's gone, and you're dry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's great. You will love Zion. You will. It's that really cool.
Yeah.
Outlaw Josie Wales riding a horse through. It's
I think that's probably it, man. Like, I like that. I'm kind of, like I said, I like that history, and there's something kind of nostalgically cool about thinking that, man, 100 years ago, some dude did this on a horse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How'd he do that?
Yeah, it's like what kind of balls was he born with that let him do that? And I'm like tripping out, like, fuck, man, my brand new bike might break down.
He had no choice.
Yeah, that's his life.
But Capitol Reef, Escalante,
yeah,
all that stuff through Utah.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
We're looking forward to it, man, and even going east, man. Have you done too much stuff out in the East Coast at all? Or?
No, the only thing I've done, as farthest I've gone, is Sturgis, like 3 times.
We're doing coast to coast soon.
Yes, Lance told me I have. He said, "Hey, Dad, the way you ride, I cannot believe you and Galen haven't done the coast to coast. So now we have to do it."
I haven't done it continuously, but obviously living in Texas, we can kind of say like, hey, well, we picked back up right here and went this way. But
I'll tell you what, though, I get DMs on my Instagram every week from people from Europe that want to come and ride Route 66 with us.
Nice. So that thing's so fucking far. It's hard to figure out which parts to ride.
They want to do the old Arizona, New Mexico, but from Chicago to LA.
Yeah, that one would be cool. I want to do that, and a lot of, like, for me next, I've pretty much seen most of this around here, and between here and Texas, but like Northeast, like Maine and all those, like Vermont, that's like really the next bucket list place for me to kind of ride through and start seeing, like I said, the history up there.
Right.
I used to fly to North Carolina to paint bikes, and it's like, even just traveling around there, like, God damn, there's like Civil War took place over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the Smokies are fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, I don't know where I keep hearing guys keep telling me about the Dragon's Tail and.
Yeah, I didn't like, man. Don't take my word for it, but man, like, I rode that, and I was on my FXR and suspension dialed, and it was just so tight of a road that like you're almost never out of first gear. Do what?
I hate that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. The road that I took to get to the Dragon, fucking amazing, dude.
Right.
I was sweeping them at 80, 90 miles an hour.
Right, those are fun.
Hopefully you guys can hear me. What was the road that we took through we were like coming up from like the Four Corners up to like Colorado-ish area, that I was on Luke's Dyna and I was hauling ass?
Not the cliff that you were talking about.
Is it
Wolf Creek Pass?
Wolf Creek Pass? Yeah.
That was all time, like,
I was
most favorite road.
Yeah.
Wolf Creek
I was
Pass.
like tough, like sport bike rider, like up against the handlebars. It was the type of road that, like, on a Harley, it was so wide open you weren't like scraping pegs really.
Yeah.
You were more just like
Carving.
third or fourth wide, but just like leaning and just it was fucking rad.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how all the riding was down the coast, is that you get some of those that are just, it's kind of nice because on the coast you get a couple of those like tight ones, you got to fucking throw it back and forth. then a couple sweepers. But the Dragon's like 150, 113, 112, something like 120 curves like that. That's just back and forth. And there's photographers everywhere, so you're trying to like flex on them around the corners and shit.
Right.
And people are like going down all over the place. And, you know, but it was as a motorcyclist, I 100% agree that you have to ride it.
Right.
You know, but it's kind of those things. It's like you start hearing, you know, common conversation at a biker bar or Sturgis, like, man, I rode this one, I rode that one. And, you know, some people trip out like it's the coolest thing in the world. And, you know, pretty much, honestly, you guys got here in Cali, everything that's great everywhere else, you already have it here.
Right.
It's just you get to say you did that one too.
Right.
So,
well, we go to Kern River a lot.
Yeah, that's
which
what
is
you're
outside
saying,
of
yeah.
Bakersfield, and there's probably 50 different ways to get into Kern, and we've found them all, and there's still more.
Yeah.
Like where you end up in the Mount Whitney, you end up in the giant sequoias.
Yeah.
Depending if you come from the east side, west side, up over the mountain, there's just so many cool roads. you know? So it's
So
good.
so after Sturgis, do you plan on anything else for this year, or what do you think? What's the next big one? Is it going to be the cross country one or what?
I don't know, maybe, but we just keep. We almost kind of don't plan. My buddy and I and him, my wife and his wife, every Friday night we eat dinner and we're like, where are we going next week? Where are we going next week? What are we
Yeah.
gonna do? But we kind of laugh, and I know there's reasons in different states, but
Yeah.
when people go, like you see an ad, get your bike ready for the riding season. We're like,
Yeah.
what do you mean riding season? We ride all the time. I mean, my daily transpo is my road glide.
Yeah.
I don't have a car. I do have a car. It's a 63 Bug.
Yeah.
But it sits in the garage.
Exactly.
You know, I ride my bike every day. You know?
That's the same thing for me too, and that's because I had made poor choices with buying cars, and now I'm without.
But I love having service the bike, and you know, I always try and help people. Like, hey, don't go pay to put brakes on. Just here, look how easy it is. You just, you know.
Yeah.
And
what's cool, like, so you said you get a lot of people reaching out to you on your Instagram that you know, like I said, you're probably inspiring a lot of people to want to do the kind of riding that you and your buddy does, you know.
I get a lot of people that say they live their life vicariously through my Instagram.
Yeah.
I get guys that ask me about my Clockworks windshield, my Legend suspension, all like technical questions. And like I was telling Lance, I go, it's kind of a trip. And he said, because he's kind of been involved in the industry for a while.
Yeah.
He said, guys look at you and you're just a real guy that's riding. You're not like a sponsored guy that's out there like, hey, get this. Yeah. They can get the truth from me.
We need to get you an offer code so you can give everybody.
Yeah. You know, it's like, hey, this is what I do. It may not be best for you. I mean, I have guys that tell me, hey, I don't use the same suspension you, but I love and I'm like that. Whatever works for you, great. You know, just have fun.
I mean, that is the truth. I mean, a lot of people, you know, my buddy once said, it's like, there are a lot of people out there that can't even afford a Harley. Right. You know, that'll never have one. It's a dream of them to even get a sports dream. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of it's a crazy thing to just be able to have one, and then and extra crazy to have the time off from work or a lifestyle that allows you to go out and travel on it. So I get it. A lot of people, you know, when they say either, you know, you're young and you got the time, or but no money, and then you're old. You ain't got the time, but you got the money.
We just make the time.
Yeah.
You know what? Whatever we missed today will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Work wise, you know. So it's like, I gotta go. And like I say, I get questions even from different countries. People from Arab countries, people from Europe, because they're into the Harley.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll send me a picture of their bike, and it's like an old Honda with a sissy bar, but it's what they have.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
it's pretty cool, man. Like I said, it's weird how you would you know, you get into this stuff and you're just doing what you love, but then, you know, because of social media, because you post a cool picture on your trip, it's like all these people are like looking up to you now, or they're inspired by what you're doing, and it's kind of humbling in a sense.
Right.
But it is super like out. It's just weird, right?
Right.
You know,
it is, yeah. And it's like, I used to be a sign painter, so I have art background, and I used to do photography stuff. And so it's like, when I'm riding, if I see a scene unfolding before my eyes, I'm pulling over and getting it.
Yeah.
You know, because I won't be back there.
Yeah.
So my buddy and I, we're just like, we take photos, you know. We do videos, we do photos, and it's fun. It's not like, I'm doing this for Instagram.
Do you ever get these like scenes in your mind, you know, that you want to like either live out or you know, find a way to get a picture of that shit or something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do that. I wish I had the money to just pay someone to follow me around with a camera, and I like lost 25 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's just fun. It's just a great thing to do. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Bikes, you know, and you meet a lot of cool people.
Yep.
And you really meet a lot of cool people when you're in other towns, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of the cool thing too, is like the locals and talking to them, and sometimes the story gets a little redundant.
Right.
Yeah, I'm on this trip. Yeah, 14 days. Yeah, well, this is day 5. You know what I mean? But realistically, in hindsight, it's way better to talk about that than like be back at work talking about the bullshit that you gotta do it there. So.
And my favorite thing, no matter what state you're in or anywhere you're at, there's going to be some older guy that likes your bike, and he's going to tell you he has an uncle that has a 1956 Panhead in his garage.
Yeah.
Or some old bike.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's we get that shit a lot, man. That stuff, and just other riders. You know what I mean? Like one thing that I was pretty stoked on is we were on the northern part of PCH, north of San Francisco, coming down, and it was probably the most open part. We rode the whole time without as many like RVs and shit on there, and we passed this Ducati. He was on the side taking pictures, and he caught up with us, and he stayed right behind us, mainly me and one of my other buddies, and he was like, we were just getting it, just carving this, like, because he was there, I was kind of trying to show my ability,
right,
and he was like, yeah, he stopped with us at the gas station, and he's like, yeah, man, you guys, you get the nice pace going on, blah, blah, blah. We were like, yeah, we're fucking approved Texans.
Right. Well, then that's the cool thing with Lance and Dom and Luke and Galen and myself. We all ride together enough. And we can go anywhere on any trip and never bitch about a thing. We all just are in tune with good food, good drink, good ride, and go. And we know each other the way we ride. So when we're out there, we look like a choreographed, you know, and usually
a police brigade kind of thing.
Usually we stop for lunch and we have a beer, and then we get on the road, and I can see it. I see it because I'm the oldest guy in the group. It's like, all right, they're all eyeballing each other, and we're out in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. The race is on.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to get on their bikes and just rip.
Just go, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing, man. I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say jealous, but, man, I think it's really cool that you're able to do that with your son and kind of live that, be a part of his, you know, career and job and everything. And it's cool how you've kind of created your own fucking brand off this stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, we did moto his whole life growing up, and then we ended up doing this, and it's just amazing. You can't get it if it was any other thing. Bike life's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. It's like every time I start getting to the point where I'm losing, I wouldn't say losing interest, but it's just not as inspiring right now. It's like you just get out and go do a trip, man.
Right.
You know, and it shows you why you love it, and you come back fresh and ready to create something. You know what I mean? So
exactly. It's freedom.
You ever thought about painting bikes at all or anything? Just like dabbling with it, or is it?
Not really. I mean, I've lettered some helmets, but mostly it's just riding them and keeping them shiny. Yeah. I always see people say, your bike looks so clean. I'm like looking at it going, oh, it really needs a bath right now. It's pretty dirty, but
I tried to pay someone down there in Venice just now to wash my shit.
Yeah.
Mainly because those wheels, man. I hate cleaning those wheels.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'll pay you $40 just to clean the wheels.
Yeah, the wheels are kind of a pain.
Yeah, all those grooves, and they got grooves in the hub and on the fucking lip. And
then you go out and ride it and get it dirty again.
Yeah, as soon as you do. So our Airbnb guy, the place we're staying, this guy, like, we got there, he came over, and the first thing he's like, yeah, this is a $1.4 million house. And it's kind of like one of those things because it's in Venice, you know, so it's an older house. It's not like a new fixed up one. Right. But because the lot's worth so much money and shit, and he immediately starts name dropping it, but he had this like chemical guy's shirt on. And so he ended up, you know, in his course of name dropping all these things, businesses he has, he's like, yeah, I'm part owner of Chemical Guys. I was like, so what's up with that ceramic wax stuff? Because I guess it's a new type of wax that's out.
Yeah.
And he gave us a spill, and then turns out this dude's like trying to party with us and shit, and it's like, you know, hey dude, like, we're trying to tear your house up, man. You gotta go.
Yeah. We had a guy 1 year start hanging out at Sturgis.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to hang out the whole time with us, and we were like, we're kind of like, we have our own little group, you know.
Yeah.
But he's like, you guys are fun. I want to hang.
Yeah, it's weird, you know, because I try to, when we do our trips, man, I try to invite people that are like maybe the towns we're going through to try to come out, and you know, because you're local, we're not. So
Right.
where's the cool place to go?
Right.
What's a great route? What's this? What's that? And I have no problem meeting people, but it, you know, when you get a big group, you know, you kind of have to ride more chill and you know, not try to show off and shit,
Right.
because that's how you have people end up staying in that town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too big of a group's not good.
Yeah.
But and then the spontaneous stuff, like we were ripping through Wyoming. It was like 6 o'clock at night. There's a hotel right there we could have got, and we're like, "What do you guys think? Sun's gonna set in about an hour.
Yeah.
It's an hour to the next town." We're like, "Fuck it, let's go."
Yeah.
So we go, but it was a mind blow because we were going through this prairie. Next thing you know, we're 10,000 feet up. What was that pass?
I forgot
Wyoming.
what that one was.
Was it Wyoming?
That was
Yeah, at the end of Wyoming. Like
That's
maybe it was
pretty badass
8,000
and-
feet.
pretty badass.
Oh,
It
yeah,
got fucking
fuck.
cold real quick.
Let me see.
And it was, we got up there and we were on top of the world and the sun was setting. We watched the sunset. It was a trip. It was the eastern side of Wyoming.
Damn, there's a pass that tall there?
Huge.
On the east side?
It's pretty big.
Bighorn National Forest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just, if you know,
I haven't been through there. I've only been to like Laramie, Cheyenne.
I don't know what the elevation is, but we.
This was all of us like getting off our bikes. Like that's my face after the ride.
Hell yeah.
Like you could see everyone that got to the top of the mountain. Like everyone's like tripping out how fun it was. It's just like so good.
Dude, that's kind of what happened with me the first time I ever tried to ride PCH. Like, not knowing. I'm like, okay, we're going to start in Venice and we're going to go all the way to San Francisco. You know what I mean? It's good to meet you.
It's a nice meeting you. I'll see ya.
And so,
Seems
like,
pretty
I'd never ridden it before, so I didn't know that we could just skip from Venice to, you know, Santa Barbara and all that shit. So we ended up getting there, and we ended up not even making it to Big Sur before the sun went down.
Right.
But that part before the sun went down was the most amazing thing.
Right.
Riding the coast with the sun setting on the ocean, like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
For the next, you know, 250 miles we had to ride in the dark.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was, you know, and those kind of things you can't plan. And
No.
you know, I don't talk as much about the shitty ride afterward as much as I talk about how cool that spot
one
was.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the golden hour at the end of the day or first thing in the morning, it's
Yeah.
just the lighting and just everything about it. It's like,
It's amazing.
yeah. And I like when you're riding and it's freezing and all of a sudden you just feel puffs of warm air and
Yeah.
next thing you know it's warm and you're
Yeah.
like, now you're good. Now you're
Yeah.
peeling clothes off, you know.
So that's what happened to me when I told you I rode up here in February, and on the way back I was kind of trying to avoid certain weather, and I ended up getting caught about 500 miles outside of Dallas, and storm came through, never got above 24 degrees.
Wow.
Had to ride that all the way home because I had to get home to finish a bike that was getting picked up the weekend before,
Right.
after.
But
But
you'll
yeah.
remember that.
Oh yeah, I've just told you the story about it. It sucked, but
Yeah.
it was like, and that's all I could think about the whole time while I was doing it. I was like, this is so fucking stupid, and I hated it, but I was like, I'm gonna be able to tell someone about it later, and that makes me
Right.
feel like it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, the same thing you said, man. Like you find these little weird things that you do to help warm yourself up or keep yourself going in those things, and you know, whether it's hot chocolate at a stop or coffee if you're into that,
Right.
or going in the bathroom and finding if they got one of those air blowers, you can stick
Right,
your
right.
shoes on and
Right.
your gloves and your helmet, warm the inside up. It's
Well, I've seen guys on our trips open the ice where you go buy a bag of ice that's out
Yeah.
at a gas station, open the door and sit in it.
yeah, done that. We used to, I think that same trip I was telling you we were going through was like 115. We would stop at certain gas stations, like some of out in like New Mexico and Arizona.
Right.
You get some of those ones that aren't as like well put together, you know,
Right.
kind of spare like scarce items in the store.
Right.
And like we'd go in there and stick our helmets in the freezer,
Right.
and then just go have like a drink or whatever, sit on
Right.
the side, and then come
Right.
pick them up before we leave.
That's
So
cool.
it's always good times.
Yeah.
Well, shit, man. I guess we can start wrapping this up. But I'm glad I got you on, man. I really wanted to do one with you, just like catch some of your,
Right on.
your stuff, man.
Well, maybe we'll get some more followers from this, and they can get ask some questions if they need to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I tell you, man. Like, I think it's one of the growing things about our industry is just people really want to travel and see the world, see the country with some friends or even alone if they have to. It's
I did. My buddy couldn't ride with me last month.
Yeah.
He was somewhere. I just solo did a 400-mile loop.
Yeah.
Up in the giant sequoias, and it was great.
Yeah. But that's the thing, man. It's like getting more people to do stuff like that. I think it's a good place. That way they can get to some place without service. That they don't have to post it on their Instagram every time. Like don't do it for Instagram. Just use Instagram to show people what you're doing.
Right. This is where I was.
Yeah.
So it
cool.
makes
So
it fun.
tell everybody what your Instagram is.
It's Big Lance C. So it's BigLancec. We're both Lance Coury.
Yeah.
So if you look at Lance Coury, you'll find both of us.
Yeah, there you go.
Coury.
Cool.
So.
Well, shit. Wrap it up. Thank you,
Right
man.
on.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
good talking to everybody.
Sorry for all that background noise. It is a shop. They were working. They were handling things, getting ready for something, and that's just the way it is sometimes. So I appreciate you guys, Lance and Lance again, for sitting down and giving us some insight on your life and your story and just all the cool shit that you guys are doing out there. Thank you guys again for the time. Really appreciate the swag, too. I love it. I'm a big boy, so those clothes fit pretty nice. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for checking out this podcast again, and don't forget to check out our sponsors, Lexan Moto on Instagram, LexanMotorcycle.com. If you want to order, a Bluetooth headset for your helmet and all that other good shit, use Fast Life, one word at checkout for 15% off. And don't forget, you can meet the guys in person at East Coastin', and if you're going to the Superbike races in Laguna Seca, you can meet Anthony. So Mark will be in New Haven, which is East Coastin', and then Laguna Seca will be Anthony. So check those guys out. Let them know you heard about the podcast, whatever the case may be. I also want to thank my boy Texas Performance in MC. Check him out. .com on the internet. No .com if you're on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and painthuffer.com, and use that Fast Life checkout at checkout for 15% off. I also want to thank Lindahl Brakes on Instagram and lindahlbrakes.com, as well as Fast Life at checkout for 10% off all your purchases there. And Dream Rides John on Instagram and teamdreamrides.com for their online store and their shit like that. Check them out. Fast Life, checkout, 10% off. And I want to thank Kevin at Big Bear Performance for everything he's done for my bike and my confidence in riding, having such awesome suspension on my bike dialed in for me. He can do it for you too. Check him out. BigBearPerformance.com. Give him a call at 909-478-7788. Also, Big Bear Choppers on Instagram. Thank you guys. Give us a follow as well, the Fast Life Podcast on Instagram. Hopefully you like this podcast because I fucking love doing it. And don't forget to share the things that you like. Don't forget about our Patreon, fastlifegarage.com. Everything's on there. And you guys have an awesome fucking week and an awesome July. Peace.